There's like a post-read ad kind of thing. We wanted it to be Fleshlight. It's not who it is in the movie because we would have liked to have that money, but
yeah. That would have been such a great meta joke.
But we're still, I mean, we're doing these test screenings, and so we're still that slot is open. Yeah. So we're still trying to get someone to buy it. So
yeah, got an open slot for an open slot.
You know there you go. Nice.
Every fucking week, new movies get released. How does anyone ever see these? There are too many movies.
Welcome to There Are Too Many Movies, family. This week on There Are Too Many Movies, we have a special guest that we're going to introduce in a second. But before we do that, and we're also going to talk about what we've been watching with him and it's a bunch of other cool stuff. I'm Chris Collins. A little rusty on the soundboard today.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
You missed twice.
I did.
I was out there hear a rusty gate at that point.
Yeah. Check the gate.
You're Chris?
Yep, you did that. Take it again. All right.
Josh, the Josh Rodriguez Film School University.
And I'm Alex, the Josh Wilson.
He took it, dude. It's official.
You did it.
I did it.
And our very special guest today, the director of Age of Audio, a documentary about podcasting, Shaun Michael Colón.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Stoked to have you. And is it the Texas premiere of the movie?
It's a world premiere.
The world premiere. The world premiere of Age of Audio happening at the OCFF. That is the Oak Cliff Film Festival at the Texas Theater. Get your tickies now.
June 29th at 3:15 p.m.
There you go.
At the Texas Theater. How you feel, man? You get to see your beautiful project projected in the Texas Theater.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Texas Theater and the people at Oak Cliff Film Festival, so I'm very stoked to be having it premiere there. There's a lot that has to happen, so like and I want to do them proud. So trying to get the people out. I'll be putting up flyers at coffee shops, and I'm going punk rock style. I'm handing out flyers. I got stickers.
You're doing it.
I'm gonna try and get that place packed as much as possible.
Doing local podcasts?
You guys are just local? Are they national?
We are local on the internet.
We're local on the internet.
Yeah.
So.
No, I appreciate doing that. You guys having me to do this, and hopefully anyone here who's from Dallas, you should come check out the movie, especially if you like podcasts. You know, and clearly you do.
If you like podcasting, you like movies and movies about podcasts.
It's true.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't even like podcasts, and I like the movie.
And if you're into Fleshlight.
Yeah. If you're into Fleshlight as well.
Sponsor the pod, fuckers. We didn't get that memo. I would love to get that memo, if you know what I'm saying. Speaking of getting the memo, $5 a month on Patreon if you want to support the show. Like maybe Fleshlight, you could support the show. I don't know.
Throw one our way. Just one for all of us.
Just one. They're like, shared. Just sits there.
A shared Fleshlight.
Try it, I guess.
Nope.
Gotta try it out, man.
Nope. But yeah, $5 a month will get you access to the Discord, a bonus episode a week where we just shoot the shit. Not even a movie, we just shitting around.
We literally shoot shit with a gun. It's kind of crazy.
And we fuck the Fleshlight that's going to be sent to us on camera on Patreon. And it's the guest has to do it too. It's just a thing, and you pay for that, so it's on Patreon.
You're our guest, so you get to use it first if you'd like.
Well, I was going to bring it. I was going to bring the one from the movie.
Well, he's like, it's just me, actually.
Oh, God.
Anyways, $5 a month.
Fleshlight.
Shout out Fleshlight.
Join, do the Patreon. Definitely support your podcast. I definitely am a big believer. I'm a contributor to a few different Patreons myself.
And it's only $5 a month, and that's it. That's the only tier that we do, and you get all of it, dude. Watch parties, codes for fucking Blu-rays. If you don't want the code, we fucking just throw it in there, and you get free movies all the time.
Here's my pitch to people on the Patreon. Not that I have one, but if you're going to support somebody, it's like, if you were to run into you guys at a bar, would you buy you a drink?
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like one drink, maybe not even. It's
buy
like,
us a drink.
Exactly.
Buy us 4 drinks.
And not even the price of a drink. That's a coffee.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that $5 it does a ton for you guys, and
it does.
For someone, it's like you might spend that just doing nothing.
One coffee a month.
A month.
Forever. Please.
For the rest of your life.
Or like you can do it for 6 months.
Don't not edit that out, Chris.
Don't do that.
Edit that out. It's gone. You actually can do that.
You're not allowed to do it. Once you're locked in for life.
Yep.
Or if you got a big chunk of change, you can do $53 for the entire fucking year.
Oh shit.
And you can pre-order them. So if you think you're going to live for like 30 years, you could do like 30 years of Patreon.
Yeah.
And hopefully you don't die. But if you do, thanks for the money.
You have a lifetime subscription.
Yep, we offer that tier, and basically if anybody takes that tier, we will definitely not disappear and go to another country right after that.
What would the lifetime tier cost?
Billion.
$1 billion?
Yep.
Yeah,
That seems excessive.
That's the minimum.
That's my knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like that's a good price.
yeah.
I would honestly like $4,000. Lifetime?
Lifetime.
And you get a fleshlight.
I'm
You
so
get a-
fucking stupid. I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, that's like 1,000 years.
Anyways, it's $5 a month. Support your local on the internet pod. Please.
43,000.
4-3. Oh shit. Anyways, we're gonna get into watch lists a little bit. We're gonna go around the room, talk
Yeah.
about what we've been watching, and obviously we're gonna talk about your movie Age of Audio, the documentary about podcasting, which we all saw it. It's fucking fascinating. I mean, we're in the medium, and I learned a shit ton about even just the origin of the word and like shit like
Yeah,
that.
that was
It's
awesome.
so fucking cool. So definitely check out Age of Audio if you are in Texas at the OCFF, but I'm sure you'll be able to catch it
It's a
soon.
AOA movie on everything.
There you go.
So the Twitters.
Once you hit the streaming services, dude, it's going to go
Yeah.
bananas.
Gonna pop off.
Yeah. And there's no way it doesn't get picked up. And this being such a crazy topic, like I think this has a really good chance of getting distro.
We have a strong like our executive producer. He's well connected, and there's been a lot of interest in it. And just getting it over the finish line has been the challenge.
And
Yeah.
what's funny is when we were emailing, of course, initially it's like, all right, I have a documentary about podcasting. Before we see it, it's like, this guy's got a documentary on podcasting. All right, we'll check it out. And then I watched it and I was like, holy fucking shit, dude. This is amazing.
You guys saw an early cut, so like there's like
We'll talk about it, but I was like, and I don't know if that's just me, but like my expectations were not there.
Interesting.
It's fucking good, dude.
dude, that means a lot actually, because I'm in the trough of disillusionment right now. So hearing that is actually really fucking helpful.
Yeah, because how long have you been doing this?
7 years.
7 years to make the movie. Yeah, so you're so close to it. You don't even know if it's good anymore. You're just like, yeah.
I literally was like that today, where I was like, "Is this even good?"
Dude, it's fucking
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good, man.
great.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
amazing that you're saying that.
No,
Thank you.
and to me, it was so easy to be like, once this hits X streamer, like any streamer, it is going to go fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
so
think
good.
production quality? You think we got all that going?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Maybe my
Absolutely.
bar is too high. I'm like,
Have you seen the shit on Netflix, bro? You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
as
man.
long as you were entertained and you learned something, and that's the goal. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
genuinely was fascinated.
I knew almost literally nothing before going into it.
about anything.
Fundamentally, as a human being.
we eat
Yeah.
food to
Yeah.
live.
It's like when I read that book that Josh had like in high school, and I was like, holy shit, you need food, water, and shelter. I didn't know that.
Everyone fundamentally needs those things.
Well, that's great. I mean, like honestly, that's actually really like encouraging to hear.
And I'm a big documentary guy to begin with. So, and I can kick us off as far as watch list goes.
Let it rip.
Nice.
I watched a terrible documentary. It doesn't even fucking compete with Age of Audio. All right.
Wow.
But it was a little documentary on HBO Max called Implosion, the Titanic sub disaster.
I was gonna watch this, and I was like, oh, it could just be a guy going, look at it, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just a picture of the Mad Catz controller for an hour and a half. Just
Look at this shit.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a fine
Sure.
documentary, but it's too soon, right?
Did you? Yes, I would say too soon.
Nowadays, that's not how it works. They have a documentary before it imploded.
Dude, there was a Pope documentary.
They had it already. They're like, okay, just wait for it to implode. Okay, we got the footage.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
implode.
Yeah.
Well,
Like the Diddy documentary is coming out while it's all happening.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we're talking to a guy that spent 7 years on this podcast documentary, and that happened less than a year ago, I think,
Something
or
like
just
that.
about. So this documentary is already out. They filmed the case. You know what I mean? The aquatic people had to fucking investigate what
The Atlanteans.
Aquaman himself, Arthur Curry, had to investigate. What the fuck, dude? It's insane.
They're like,
dude.
all right, so we're gonna go investigate. I've got a ship.
Yeah. What's nuts though, the price of admission for this documentary though, they have the moment it happens and the hub, so like the boat above water that is waiting for the submarine to come back up, and they have the moment where it fucking and they're like, what was that sound?
Was that the one with the wife?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, that clip's already going around.
Yeah, that clip's made its rounds, but
Oh,
that shit is. It's like,
Oh.
what do you think it was, lady?
Oh,
Really be real.
well,
right
she
now.
knew. You could
Oh,
see
yeah.
it. She knew exactly.
So
in that
her
moment.
husband was on the thing, and she heard the noise.
Her
That's what
husband
the
was
clip is?
the guy, right?
Yeah, and like there was I think there's like a delay between the communication between the things.
Yeah, because they get a message and they're like, "Oh, we've dropped the something," and I don't fucking know. I
don't
You laughing at, dick? I don't know what the fucking
The ballast.
machinery
It's the
is.
ballast, right?
It's
We
just
dropped the
ballast?
shit.
Drop the shit.
We dropped the shit in the ocean. They're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Pfft. Like,
But it's also kind of like gnarly to.
yes,
I think of like that movie about the bear, the Werner Herzog, where he wouldn't show
Grizzly Man.
He
Grizzly
wouldn't
Man.
show the
This
thing,
is
but he
too
just
dark.
show it.
he showed the response
Yeah.
instead of the thing. So it's kind of I don't know.
He
I don't know.
showed like him listening to it. He's like, "This is simply too dark for any human being."
I love he got an impression. It's great.
I would like to see the
I would like to see the baby.
No one should ever hear this.
Yeah.
It's literally like it's so weird.
But Implosion, the Titanic sub disaster is not a great documentary. It's fine. I mean, I watched it. I watched the whole thing. I was entertained.
Sure.
You know?
It's sad.
Netflix has its own, right?
And I'll probably watch that one
Dang,
too.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
the crazy thing about current events nowadays is like you get the Hulu one, the Netflix one, the Max one, the Tubi one. Like they all have their version.
There
The
are-
Tubi one.
They're all like formatted in very similar ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of like a formula. They're just gonna like.
Yeah, nobody's got exclusive shit. It's all just like reformatting the same information.
Yeah.
They all have that gray Netflix documentary look, you know what I mean, where everything's just
yeah.
sort of flat.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of documentaries.
really.
Yeah, I used to, and I don't know if I.
Well, I mean, you've been watching the same
Yeah.
one for
Right, I
so-
watched one over and over
Totally
and
get
over
away
again. Like,
from
this
that.
isn't very good. Let me change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So something about like that kind of flat look that I'm just so tired of. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about yours. Okay, the Rehearsal.
Let's flipping go.
I watched both seasons in
Yes.
2 days.
Yes.
Whoa, really?
This is one of the best shows I've ever seen.
It's auteur genius.
So Nathan Fielder, of course, Nathan For You. Everyone's familiar with Nathan For You. His show on HBO called The Rehearsal is the most autistic thing I've ever seen ever. I know, Chris, you started it this past week.
Yeah, I tried. I got halfway through episode 1 and I kind of bailed. Yeah.
I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. And it wasn't the cringe humor that I was expecting it to be. It was just a fascinating human experiment. Like,
Yeah. Well, it was interesting, but I think at least in the episode I was watching, I don't know if all the episodes are like this, but that person is the butt of the joke. And it's like I feel bad for them.
so I thought that's where it was going,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not.
And that's my problem with Nathan For You. Like these people genuinely wanted like help with their business, and he would come in and like make it comedy, and they're like, "Thanks, I guess." You know, like they didn't really know.
I get it. I get why you don't like it. That shit hits for me.
I don't think
Feel
that
bad for them. That's all.
I don't
I'm
think
sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
saw a picture coming. I had to be an idiot. It is not the same type of humor that Nathan For You is.
If anything, he's like borderline empowering a lot of them.
Yeah, it's like a really like positive documentary series that The Rehearsal is, because he's like actually getting people through some shit, and like even as people sort of fall off, because he can't make them do anything, but it's like people will fall off, and he just continues the experiment.
He doesn't intentionally, in The Rehearsal at least, intentionally make someone the butt of the joke, but he has this knack for finding a particular person and then letting the silence like imply that they need to speak more, and they say wild shit like the Einstein lady.
Yeah. Oh, that was fucking nuts. But I will say, season 2, it is not making fun of anybody.
It's the plain stuff, right?
Yes.
It's the plain stuff. Dude, it is the most fascinating thing.
Is
I
the
think I've ever
whole
seen.
season the plane stuff?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like the finale episode.
And like leading up to the plane stuff, and then he does episode 3.
It's
could I just skip to season 2 and go
Yeah.
from
yeah.
there?
You don't
All right,
have to
I'm gonna
watch
do
one
that.
at all.
Because
Okay.
he's a legitimate airline
Yeah,
pilot
he's
now.
approved to fly a Boeing 737.
Yeah. And he
And he
made
flew
HBO.
one.
That's
he
how about
made
a commit to the bit.
Yes.
Like, that's,
Andy Kaufman's like, I'm not.
Yeah.
not
Well, he's
can
also-
do
2
that
years
shit.
he
he
studied.
may be also smart. He's like, hey, this entertainment industry is falling apart. I
Yeah.
can always make the jump to fly in.
Well, he does in his spare time now. He's like a
Yeah,
a
he
pilot.
he relocates 737s to like airplane graveyards all over the world now.
That seems awesome.
Yeah,
It's amazing how he's committed to this show and just the levels that HBO has gone to make this show possible.
dude, the Paramount soldiers like and
Oh, yeah, I heard about
likening
that.
them to like Nazis.
Yeah, I
that
heard
is
about
so
that.
fucking funny.
It's a genius level
Yeah.
show.
And he brings back like the Summit Ice Company. It's a company he founded during Nathan For You, where all the proceeds went to like Holocaust museums. So it's like, and it bills itself like the website is like, it looks like a normal sportswear.
Yeah, like
And-
Patagonia.
Yeah, like Patagonia, and then it's like remember the Holocaust, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like on the sportswear website, and it's like, yeah, that's what it does. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole point.
I love his press tour where like there's one line that cracked me up where they were like, "So you care about airplane safety?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to die."
Yeah,
It's just like
the fuck.
I have to use them all the time.
Yeah.
I hope they work.
Dude, season 2, man. I can't recommend it enough.
Okay,
I think I'll
you're
jump to
selling me on this, man.
Yeah.
And
And I am notoriously against the like cringe humor. Like
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
hard time watching it.
Same.
This is not that. It's really not.
it just, I heard, I mean, this is the third time I've heard that it's just brilliant.
It's
Dude,
I
it's
haven't
great.
stopped hearing about it forever.
Okay.
Because of them but also everyone else.
Now you got to watch The Curse because it's Benny Safdie.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm a big Nathan For You guy. He wears New Balance all the time.
There you
It's
go.
pretty cool. All right, let me go with Boiling Point, and I need to give a shout out to Eggy in the Discord for recommending this one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
I didn't recommend this to you a year ago.
I think
on the show.
it was in my watch list. I just forgot about it probably.
Did you watch the show or the movie?
Oh, I didn't know there was a show. I watched the movie
Yeah. Okay.
with Stephen Graham of
Oh, that guy's awesome.
Adolescence fame.
Show
of
is the same guy.
Snatch fame.
Yeah.
And Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels fame. Dude, amazing show. Or amazing movie.
Awesome. I've only seen the movie, but it's awesome.
It's so good. And honestly, for people that love The Bear, it's better than
What?
that, I'd argue.
yeah.
I've never seen The Bear.
It's great.
It's fine, but I think the last 2 seasons have kind of like gone nowhere.
There have been like a couple episodes in the last 2 seasons that have been like masterpiece episodes, but overall, it's like, yeah, it was worth watching, but like not the best shit ever.
Yeah.
it's stressful to watch, right? Like
Sure.
there's just so much turmoil between everybody. This is just like a great slice of life movie. I know Alex would love it. It's a great slice of life movie where you don't have to expound on anything. There's no background. It's literally just a movie that is filmed stylistically as a oneer in a kitchen
Shit.
with the
No,
staff.
it legitimately is a oneer.
Oh, the entire movie is legitimately there's no cuts.
They did it 5 or 6 times. I remember doing a deep dive on this
What
back in
the
the day.
fuck?
They legitimately did it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. It's fucking awesome. And Stephen
good.
Graham is one of those actors that to me is severely underrated.
Yeah.
He's so fucking good, dude.
He carries this movie in a way that I believe him as a chef.
What's the premise?
The premise is a chef down on his luck, one of those kind of like hard-boiled chefs that is running a restaurant while dealing with some family issues.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
he's
gotcha.
divorced probably. He just moved into a place, but he has drug addiction and
Isn't it opening night of the restaurant?
no, it's just
A famous reviewer is coming or something.
That's
a famous
chef.
a famous TV chef is coming to that he used to work with is coming to stay, and then there's or coming for dinner, and then there's a reviewer with him. That's kind of like the main
Yeah,
task.
that and just surviving the night.
surviving the night, and then there's a food allergy issue that happens. People are coming late to work. I mean, it's just literally a slice of life into like a really crazy kitchen restaurant situation.
Dope.
Fascinating film though, and it's a 90-minute banger.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Where'd you watch it on?
I had to rent it on Amazon Prime. It was on YouTube forever, or not YouTube. It was on Netflix forever, and I just forgot to watch it.
That happens to me.
Excellent.
Boiling
So,
point.
shouts to Chris first and foremost, and then also
Thank you.
shouts to Eggy in the Discord for
Late to the game, Meggie. Sorry. I'm just kidding.
slow ass. Excellent. Check it out. And then finally on my watch list is Ballerina from the world of John Wick.
Yes, we saw this together, the little advanced screening the other night.
Saw advanced screening Monday night. Embargo was up on Wednesday, which for all intents and purposes, I was like, oh, this is going to be really bad.
Yeah, it's a bad.
When you see
sign.
Embargo
Yeah.
is up on Wednesday night, it's like, yikes, dude. It's not going to be good. I had very low expectations.
Me too.
And the thing that I wanted to talk, because we were talking about it a little bit, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know what to think, but it's Any Day Armas. I'm fucking down, right?
Yeah,
John Wick.
Come on, what are we doing?
Exactly. What I forgot to mention, or what I didn't mention at the theater, is Chad Stahelski, he reshot basically the whole movie, or they delayed the movie an entire year because he didn't like the direction the film was going, and he reshot so much of the film.
Really?
It was delayed a year, and he reshot.
I think I remember reading about this.
and he took it from the director that was on it.
Oh, there was another director?
Yes.
And they switched directors?
Yes.
So yeah,
shit.
Chad did the originals,
Right.
And then,
Or maybe the director was still attached, but he reshot it.
yeah,
He was
so-
like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
yeah, he was a producer on this one, and I guess yeah,
So it is fucking great.
it was fun.
Yes, I heard it was good.
Yeah, it's great. It's more John Wick, but just like they're on the fifth one. And so you can really see them just being like, all right, what kind of creative, gimmicky, crazy action scenes are we doing this time? And
Yeah.
they're so fun.
The things that she does in the movie, like she's great and she does just enough. She's not like putting on a emotional performance or anything like that.
Well, it's John Wick world.
Exactly.
Not really.
She's-
it's not that.
She's fucking kick-ass. She's believable as the character. But the things they're able to do stunt-wise, fucking, I don't want to spoil anything, but
You think he's gonna do good?
I hope so. I genuinely hope so. Because if not, Lionsgate is just done for. like I don't know what the fuck they do. They just sold off they sold off the Saw franchise.
No, they're gonna
What?
do the AI movies. You heard about that?
What?
I know,
Oh
yeah.
fuck! That's
They
so
they said like, oh, now we can make one take a movie and just make it animated, and then make another one that's family friendly, just to tell the AI make it family friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been taking L's for
And dude, they were banking on this Michael Jackson movie for years. For the last like 3
Wait,
years.
did that come out?
No.
Wait.
It's caught up in a bunch of stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
legal
You
stuff. from what I
no way
understand.
the Michael Jackson movie's caught up in rights issues? That's fucking bananas.
yeah, the guy that would scoop up like masters and rights of every famous music artist just cause.
Yeah. So that was like their one bankable thing. They're like, oh, this is gonna be our Bohemian Rhapsody. We're gonna put everything on this, but it's like they failed. They've been taking L's like crazy.
Yeah, but then
And they sold off the Saw franchise, which is like their one thing they were able to do.
Yeah.
That and John Wick was like their bread and butter.
but they are riding on. I mean, if you're a fan of John Wick, you're probably going to see this regardless.
Yeah.
So like, because that's how I felt. It's like it could be good or bad, but I'll probably have fun.
Yeah.
And I think they added in the title "From the World of John Wick."
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the Glass Onion thing.
Yeah,
Knives
a
Out.
Knives Out
Knives
mystery.
Out world. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Living
It's 'cause
dead
it's
boy.
like no pun intended, but to cut through is really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are
and
like, oh, well, why do they make all these remakes? It's because
that's
like,
what's working.
That's why
dude.
Barbie worked. Not to divert off the Ballerina, but Barbie worked because people know what Barbie is.
Totally.
But then you also
Yeah.
make this other movie that's a real movie. But the only way if you would have done something in that same vein, but it hadn't have Barbie attached to it, no one's going to see it.
It's true. Sometimes you have to do a safe bet to fund like something cool.
But it also has to be a good movie.
Yeah,
of
no, it
course.
has
Like,
to be good.
It
yeah.
can't just be a Barbie movie and be a piece of shit.
Right.
Like the fact that they got a great director and a great writer to collaborate on something that's wholly unique, that took risks. That's why that movie fucking.
That's a lesson that
connected
hopefully
with
they
people.
take from that is
Yeah.
use this IP, use it as a way to pull, people's attention, but then do something interesting with
Yeah,
it.
Totally.
it's not like what is it that show the studio where they're talking about like the
Great-
Kool-Aid movie and shit. It's like
I'd see that.
It has to be a legitimate thing. You have to
Yeah.
tell a legitimate story.
I would love to talk about that show. If you guys.
Oh, it's so good. I haven't finished it, but it's so good.
Oh, I can talk about it when it's my turn.
Let's go. Ballerina's great. Fucking check it out. The action scenes, the grenade scenes, fucking
Dude, you can just tell this is a movie made by stunt people because like all the stunts are like stunts for stunt people where
Yeah.
it's like, holy shit, they did that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
type of stuff. And they did it for real most of the time.
That's
You can
awesome.
tell. You can tell. It's fucking crazy.
awesome. Check it out. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's
You'll
fun.
like it if you like John Wick.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I'll go next because I have a really short one. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Oh, I want to shout out real quick. Very important. Oh, the short one. Nice, fellas.
You didn't even see it coming.
We did it in private, but then he noticed. There's this really great show called Very Important People. It's on College Dropout TV. It's like a spinoff of College Humor.
Okay.
They have like their own network with a bunch of shows. Anyways, it's called Very Important People. It's this comedian invites another comedian on the show. They go into a makeup room and they get something done up on them. Like it could be an alien.
Yes,
It
yes.
could be like just
That
a
weird bodybuilder guy.
Yeah, it could be like a bodybuilder. Like they just get done up like crazy into a crazy looking character, and the comedian has to improv the entire interview,
Yeah.
come up with a character, and the entire interview is filmed, and they just as improv, and they just cut out all the funniest shit from it and make like little 20-minute episodes. It is so goddamn funny. Like I laugh like audibly at least multiple times an episode, and that's like hard for me now. Like,
Yeah.
to think like
Jaded by everything.
I've
Yeah.
got like comedic impotence.
yes, yeah, seriously. I have comedic erectile dysfunction
Yeah.
basically.
Dude, the fucking I found $100,000 and I turned it into $16,000.
Like, how'd you start your gym? I found $100,000 in the park.
I found $100,000
You found $100,000?
Yeah.
Where?
in the park
Where in the park?
by the swing set.
Just lose $100,000
was
in the
in the
park?
bag.
Did you know it was going to be there?
No,
Why were you in the park?
I was working out.
Okay, so then what did you do with the
I
$100,000?
invested it and then I turned it into $16,000.
Tommy, you invested 100,000. Tommy, you invested 100.
And they're both like breaking. They're both
Yeah.
like giggling and breaking. It's a great improv comedy show. So I have to shout out that. My only thing on my watch list is a movie called Thirst. Park Chan-wook. The guy that did Old Boy did a vampire movie,
Interesting.
Ah,
Ooh.
and it fucking rips.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
If you can believe it.
When did this come out?
2009.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a 2-hour banger. I highly recommend it. It's oh god, how do I describe it without spoiling? It's a vampire movie, but it's about as fucked up as you imagine from the director of Old Boy.
Cool.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but god, it's like Let the Right One In meets like Audition meets Twilight.
Where did you get the reco?
Friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out nameless person.
Yeah. But dude, it was one of those movies that I was like, it was taking me for a ride, and you think it's one thing, and it just there was a point where I was like, okay, well, that's definitely the ending. And then it goes, I'm like, oh shit, there's more. And then I was disappointed. I'm like, oh god, that was a perfect ending. They should have wrapped it up there. And then a few minutes later, I'm watching like one of the best scenes ever, and I'm like, okay, I'm really glad they didn't end it there. And then again, I was like, okay, come on. I feel the wheels start to wrap up in my like pacing wise in my head. I'm like, come on, wind it down. Like I'm looking at my watch, and then another fucking amazing scene happens. I'm like, all right, they justified it. And like I was like, I don't know. It's
Throwing you for a loop each time.
it was a ride. I highly recommend it. Thirst, Park Chan-wook, 2009.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Nice.
That's
Where
it.
where'd you stream it?
Ah, yes.
I'm
On
just
the
kid-
internet.
I'm just kidding. Actually, they had a physical media DVD copy.
Let's fucking go, baby.
DVD.
Shout out.
Shout out. Physical media.
Shout out Physical
Physical
Media,
media gang. Thanks.
Sean, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would like
Sean!
to. I would like to bring up the studio. It feels like Sean.
Yeah.
Sean, I would like the studio. Yeah. Have you guys watched? You said you watched some of it.
I've watched 3 episodes, I
Same.
believe.
Same. I watched 3. The last one I watched was The Note.
Dude, the director, we met her, remember?
The director of that episode?
No, the director that's in the episode.
Oh, you're talking about the oneer.
They're all oneers.
No,
well, there's
sorry.
one about the oneer.
There's
The
one
oneer's not about the oneer.
Wait, the whole show is filmed like a oneer? Like the whole
the
show?
entire show is done in one shot.
Mostly.
They do.
They'll switch scenes, but like the concept
Through like a...
it's like a Birdman.
very long takes. Very
Yeah.
long takes.
like even with the drums and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the jazzy drum.
Very Birdman like.
Very, yeah.
The women talking. What's her fucking name?
Alexa, who
Sarah
direct-
Polly. Sarah Polly.
All right.
They do the last two episodes.
Alexa, stop. Fucking
The last two episodes, like it's a two-parter.
Is that the one with Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, she goes hard. The whole thing goes pretty hard. I think it's if you're someone who's into movies and how movies are getting made.
Yeah.
It's I think it's pretty great.
It's definitely a show made for industry people.
And it's like each episode is own, I mean they have a little bit of a thread, but it's each episode is its own little concept about some aspect of the movie industry. And I've listened to once again I've listened to podcasts about podcasts, and they like a lot of stuff. Like when they did the awards, they went there and recreated the award show like legitimately.
That's amazing.
And rebuilt it, and so like it's I think it's pretty awesome.
They're taking a lot of pride in like the filmed in LA thing too. Like it's like it's called The Studio. It's about the industry, and they're definitely being like, I don't know. It has, based on the jazz and the title treatments and the overall feel, it has that old Hollywood feel to it.
It is
for sure.
a very Hollywood centric show, which you haven't seen in a long time, or if you have, it was shot in Georgia.
You guys ever listen to the podcast The Town?
No.
Matthew,
Wait, Shittown?
Matthew Bellany.
Oh no.
He does reporting on the industry. It's a show called The Town, and
Oh, it's about Hollywood?
it's
Like Hollywood news.
it's like Hollywood news type.
Yeah.
He's a reporter, and he talks about industry stuff and all different aspects. But he's in the show,
Awesome.
in the studio. He's in the show as himself. And they have him in the episode eventually. In the beginning, that first episode, I think if you watch it, he's on the radio talking about and he's like, "Oh, Matthew Bellany," but that's like a real thing. It's very meta what they're doing.
Crazy
Yeah.
meta.
Like,
And Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are like one of the great like comedy duos in film history. Like I think they've already legitimized themselves with, of course, the like teen raunchy comedies,
Super Bad, all that stuff.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff. But like since then, they've just been knocking it out of the park with like inventive comedies. Like since then, and then this show is just.
The Ninja Turtles. You see the Ninja Turtles animated Ninja Turtles movie they did?
I didn't see it, but I heard great
It's
things.
freaking good.
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
it was really sick.
But shouts to them, man, because this show is like actually fucking great.
I would
Yeah.
say you're gonna really enjoy the CinemaCon episodes.
Oh, I'm sure. The note was fucking awesome.
They
That's the Ron Howard episode.
Yeah, that's the last one I watched.
was it and then when I listened to them talk about how they shot that, like they didn't shut down the what do you call it, the casino. They shot it like in the casino, like with people running around.
That's awesome.
And the fact that they even pulled off what they pulled off is I can't believe they pulled it off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Shouts to it.
recommend.
One of the only Apple TV shows that I'm actually fucking stoked for.
Severance, though? Come on now.
Honestly, I haven't watched season 2 at all.
What?
At all.
I know, it's crazy.
Dude, season 2, man.
I know.
I know. He didn't suck him in. And for me...
That's fair. Like if the first season didn't suck you in,
No, it did. It did. I just, I don't know. I just wasn't ready to get my mind wrapped around it yet.
they explore the
TV
way,
is tough for me, dude.
way they took what they did in season 1 and expanded on those ideas. I thought was like how do you do a season 2? And especially when if you've seen season 1 where it ends, where they take that, man, there are some really amazing. And I mean, if you're someone who's into cinematography and set design and production value, like there is almost nothing that hits those highs.
Dude, the production design
ooh,
pops off on that show.
brilliant.
I love the futuristic but retro vibe of the whole thing. Like everything's like 90s tech, but it's in the future.
Yeah.
So all the cars are boxy, all the computers are big boxy CRTs.
What's weird is going back and watching like Parks and Rec after you've watched Severance. it's like seeing Adam Scott as like a goofy guy.
Yeah.
It's so odd.
Did you ever see The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
Yeah.
That the cinematography there, I kind of knew Ben Stiller had an eye for
Yeah.
like interesting visuals.
Yeah.
Well, that dude is a brilliant guy. I would say that guy's pretty brilliant guy.
Yeah.
As soon as he was done with like the Meet the Parents like comedy of it all, which I wasn't crazy about.
That's okay.
But it's like this guy has something to say. I mean, of course, Tropic Thunder being one of them, and then Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Visually, I was like, this guy's like going places. And then Severance is a fucking perfect amalgam of all
The
those
crazy
things.
thing about Severance, I know you might know this already, but like it was a spec script that the guy was just it wasn't trying to necessarily get that show made. He was just trying to show what he could do.
Yeah.
And they're
I
like,
heard
"What
that.
is this?"
And he's like, I can write a whole fucking season if you want.
I got you, bud.
It was. I mean, the production on that was tough because of all the running strikes and like the things that they had to go through. So it took a long time. It was 3 years in between seasons.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal for if you were someone waiting for to get back into it. And if I imagine them making it, having that period, it was tough. You know,
I'm a True Detective fan, man. That's nothing to me.
Yeah.
3 years.
Here's like nothing.
And there's
took
only
you so-
one good season. No, I like season 3 too.
The Night of fans, dude. One season and that's it.
It was a good show.
God damn.
The Night of is interesting. Did you ever watch that? It's very loosely based on Serial.
Yes, it is. It is.
Interesting.
So it's like a show that it mimics that same case where
Anan Syed,
yeah,
sort of.
Yeah.
that type of case where it's like, is he guilty? Is he not? He went to jail and blah blah. Blah. Like
I didn't finish Serial.
You didn't finish the first season of Serial? Wow.
interesting. Didn't do anything for you.
I'm not a true crime person.
That's fair.
I mean, nothing against it. It's just it doesn't. I mean, I was interested and I watched was a This American Life fan and got into the first 3 episodes and it was just like, I'm more interested as the phenomenon
Yeah.
Yeah.
than
like what it did to culture.
how it did with podcasting. Obviously, we'll talk about that later because it's a pretty big point, another big point in the podcasting pantheon of events.
For sure.
But I was like, I know it's good.
You're just like, he did that shit and turned it off.
Yeah.
That was it. Which I totally think he did, but whatever.
But then he's in it. I mean, that's the other thing. He's in and out, and like game time served. So even if he did it, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was in trouble.
Way to go, dude. What
He's like, you didn't listen to Serial?
I'm
This
leaving.
is over. He like walks me out.
how dare you, man? That's one of those podcasts. Did you listen to the Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith? That's a good.
Oh no, yeah,
Movie
that's
podcast.
that's a great one.
I love that.
Yeah, he did really in depth on what was a couple of things he's done. I really like that. Yeah, he's
And
great.
I like that he doesn't just do like the cinephile movies. Like he did one for like Red Notice. I'm like, this guy fucking.
No, that's a really great show. I highly recommend that one too.
I
That's
like
another
him
one I
because
really
it's
like.
he has great questions specifically for directors.
It's like him and Josh Horowitz. They're like they both between those two, happy, sad, and confused, and
Yeah.
you get really like just stuff that you wouldn't necessarily get on just a regular podcast.
And if you're a fan of the show, that's what I always use as my reference for when we're talking about movies, like a specific movie, if he has it, is the Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith. Like any cool tidbit I find is typically on that show. Great shit.
All right. So
What else have you been watching?
let's see what I mean, Futurama.
Nice.
A classic.
A classic.
Well, they're still doing seasons.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're like I don't know how you guys. It seems like you guys know Futurama. Like the first
I was
couple
in and
seasons
out.
are like
Yeah.
yeah.
amazing. I've gone back and I've probably seen every episode of Futurama, like no joke, probably 50 times. And I just went through it again because I'm not necessarily like sitting and watching like
Yeah,
having it
it's
on.
just
casually on.
Yeah.
or like traveling or
Yeah.
it's something I can put on. We can ask?
Are you gonna? Was it better than The Simpsons for you? Like, are you a big Simpsons guy?
I was a
And-
massive Simpson fan, and I read an article. I can't remember what year it was, but someone was like, "The Simpsons is a walking zombie," and I read that article, and then I just stopped watching The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't know what chokehold Matt Groening has on the industry that like people just let him like have like 40 seasons
Did
of
you
whatever
see
show.
his Netflix show?
The fantasy one? I watched like the first episode.
Dude, no, same. I watched the first episode, didn't care for it. Then I revisited it with a friend of mine, and oh my god, it goes so hard.
It's good.
What's it called?
It
Disenchanted?
Disenchanted. It
Oh,
goes
yeah.
so hard. Where it starts to where it ends up, it goes and it gets dark. It gets.
Really?
It's not like it's one long story, so it's an entire story from beginning to end, and I highly recommend that. Like, and the same thing. I watched the first couple episodes, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Once I got into especially like the second and third season, you're like, this is really effing good. I don't know why I didn't say fuck that.
I'll bleep it anyway.
How did you feel about BoJack Horseman?
I didn't connect with me.
Didn't connect with you?
Yeah,
That was one of those where
I heard
it's
it was
like,
really good.
it got crazy dark, and like it's a really.
I only
fucking-
heard about it, but people treat it like it's fucking like the Bukowski shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
it gets incredibly like just
existential.
I would say also on that show, it and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not just like, you know, kingdoms and stuff. It goes into like this not cyberpunk, but steampunk thing. Like it goes places I would not have thought when I watched it that it would go, and it does a lot of different
I don't even
stuff.
think I've heard of it, honestly.
You're lucky. You're lucky. That means you get to watch it. Highly recommend you like try and get past the first 5 or 6 episodes. They're good, but once it starts getting into what they're doing, it really is.
It kind of once it goes over the setup of the characters and
then I love some of the characters. You really like the character development is amazing, and
which you don't often see on cartoons.
well, that's why it's so different.
Fucking horse.
That's what I'm saying. It's so different than like Futurama or The Simpsons because you have these characters are shifting and changing over the course of and it ends somewhere. It's not just where like Futurama's. I love Futurama, huge fan. That's why I brought it up because some of the new episodes I think are still pretty good. Some are really good and kind of hit or miss, but they still have that tons of jokes, and it has that layering of jokes and little things. But what it does with character development and storytelling is something that they have never done, I think, with any of the 2 other series.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's interesting about like Simpsons and Futurama is like the jokes per minute. I've been like watching Simpsons a little bit, and it's just it's kind of like an Airplane or like those movies where it's like even if one doesn't hit, they're hitting you with 5 every minute. So it's like it's just so well written. And something interesting I learned about this is like an underground industry thing, but like all the writers of like South Park, South Park, Simpsons, Futurama, they all hate Family Guy.
All of them,
Yeah.
them, I
Because
guess.
because Family Guy does, it's like that one time I did the thing, and it does
Formulaic
a flashback
as fuck.
and it does this thing, and it's like those are the gags where it's and the writers are like, where is the writing?
Where's the structure of why that matters there?
Yes, or they just had like what they're doing is because like writers go, that's cheating. They go, they had one idea for one thing.
Yeah.
Like what if this chicken walked into the post office, and it's like that's like that time the chicken walked into the post office, and then it's like and then it just cuts back, and it's like, well, like Simpsons would write an episode on why a chicken is doing like all this other shit. So all the writers are like, what the fuck is that?
That's cheating.
Any Venture Brothers fans in here?
No,
Never watched that.
never watched it.
No.
Oh,
Wasn't it like an Adult Swim show?
oh my gosh! The thing that's great about it is the level of jokes that it does. The first season is kind of like just kind of a spoof on Johnny Quest, but then where they take it is another show where that's another highly recommend. Venture Brothers is like one of the best written shows that I've ever watched.
How do you feel about Smiling Friends?
I've never seen that.
Oh,
That's really funny.
Smiling Friends.
it's great. It's their like 15-minute episodes, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Adult Swim show, right?
Yeah, like
yeah.
Venture Brothers is another thing where they take a character and then they develop it over the course of the season where it's more sophisticated. And they were making fun of Marvel and all that stuff like way before.
Interesting.
Venture Brothers. Oh, Venture Brothers. Man, I got some recommendations.
I've heard really good things about Venture Brothers before, but I never no one in person. It's just been like on the internet,
Right.
Dude, Smiling Friends is great, especially if there's this channel on YouTube called Oni Plays, which is the creator of Smiling Friends is frequently on that, and it's just like these friends that are like fucking around playing video games, but the whole time they're just like doing bits. and just like saying whatever comes to mind.
Well,
And
they did that, and that's how they got famous and that money to do Smiling Friends, right?
Well, Zach Cattle was on Oni Plays, and he did his own streams where he would do like art and like random shit with the other guy in Smiling Friends. And then that's how they like unveiled like through like on a random stream. He's like, "Do you like this character? Good, because there's a fucking Adult Swim show I'm gonna make right now."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
So let's get through your watch list because I want to talk about Age of Audio.
First up, okay, Peewee Himself on Max.
It looks good.
Dude, this is fucking incredible.
I've heard great things.
It's so
One of those Oscar noms
I want to see
coming
that
up.
Is
one.
it?
I want to see it.
No,
yeah.
I mean,
it probably
it could
will.
be.
it probably
Yeah.
will be. Yeah.
Okay.
They won a bunch of awards at the Gotham Award just recently.
Yeah, people are just praising this doc.
Yeah, so I put it on relatively late last night, and I didn't know it was like 2 hour, 40-minute episodes. So I was like, fuck, I don't know if I have 3 hours. Fucking scarfed them down.
Wait. So it's episodic?
2.
Episodes.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
got
like
it.
2 movies
Oh,
together, basically.
Got it. Okay, gotcha.
But it's like a 3-hour documentary. So even like, okay, growing up, I think most people watched at least some Pee Wee Herman.
Of course.
And if you
Tim
did,
Burton's.
if you did, then this is right up your alley. If you didn't, you'll still love it. Christina watched it with me, and she never watched any Pee Wee Herman. Fucking loved this movie. So it's a documentary about his life and how he grew up and came up with the character of Pee Wee and all the shit that went down after. Everyone knows about like the scandals and shit like that.
There's just one fucking he jerked off in a theater.
In a porno
Well, there was
theater.
2, I think. The
Well,
porno
he was
theater-
accused
though.
of owning child pornography,
Which is not true.
which
Absolutely
was
not
completely
true.
false.
completely
fuck
false.
that then,
Yeah,
dude.
And
They're trying to railroad him. The LAPD. Apparently,
Yeah.
that's spoiled.
No,
I haven't
that's-
seen it,
that's-
but I heard about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So it's a lot of it is just full talking head interviews with Paul Rubens, and he is insanely smart and funny and likable, and that's like not a surprise if you saw any Pee Wee Herman, but like he's so sharp and he's like fucking with the interviewer the whole time, and it's really interesting to see. And they filmed all this footage. They filmed hours and hours of footage, and then he dies of cancer. And the guy who's doing the documentary is like, the fuck?
Yeah, he didn't
What do
tell
I do?
anybody.
No, he didn't tell anybody. And
It's a way to go, honestly.
yeah, and
Norm
he
Macdonald
pulled a
style.
Norm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really all it is. It's just a catalog of his entire life up till death, and like the way it's treated, and like the specific moments from his career that are pulled to reference like things to accent points he's making are genius. Watch this fucking movie. It is incredible.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out that. Like I said, I'm not super keen on watching a bunch of documentaries, but that's one I'm going to watch.
It
for sure.
looks amazing.
It's so fucking good.
And talk about a beloved actor. I mean, like, I think the scandals didn't necessarily hurt his legacy because people legitimately loved him. One of the few people, and the wrestling community is just a fucking. It's hard, man. It's hard to get over with a wrestling crowd. People have tried to do it. Have tried to do that. Pee Wee Herman, like showing up to Monday Night Raw, like you don't
I
think,
never knew about that.
dude.
It's not in the doc?
No.
You're like immediately like this is
Opportunity missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not gonna go well. People are gonna fucking shit on it, and everyone loved it, dude.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that can supersede, like, just beloved.
Yeah,
you know what I
beloved.
mean?
Yeah, I was about to use that word myself.
That like to a fucking mark ass wrestling crowd that hates everything. You know, they'll boo The Rock, they'll boo
Yeah.
John Cena to return for a match, and like fuck this guy. But to see Pee Wee Herman show up for Monday Night Raw and cheer him is, yeah, it's just like one of those beloved characters that you never get tired of seeing. And Pee Wee's Big Adventure was excellent.
Classic.
But a lot of people don't ever recognize Mystery Men, dude.
Yeah, it talks about that in the movie.
He was in Mystery Men?
He was in Mystery
The
Men.
Ben Stiller thing?
Yep.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude, he was the one that farted. Like that was his superpower. Pull my finger. That guy.
I gotta rewatch
Yeah.
that.
Dude,
I only
he-
remember like the spork guy. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoon
Hank
guy?
Azaria.
Yeah.
Hank Azaria's.
The dude, there's a whole segment of the documentary where it's talking about him like trying to like get back into the world of acting, but like break away from Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
And there are so many things that we've all seen him in that I don't think half of anybody like is like, oh shit, that was Paul Rubens.
Dude, Batman Returns.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, he's in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the
Is he,
movie.
is he Batman?
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Dude, the it talks about his like setting up Pee Wee from like when it was just a stage show, and he's
Like
like
an adult stage show.
Yeah.
I mean, not adult, but
well,
like.
but there's like
not for kids.
innuendo and stuff
Right.
where it's like it's presented to adults as a children's show with adult jokes throughout, and even the Pee Wee's Playhouse had stuff like that. But yeah, he's like an auteur artistic genius that like he's like he's very controlling, but it's like he knows what he wants.
Most geniuses are
Yeah.
that like are really good at their craft. Sometimes I don't know, it's a hot take, but bring back like oligarch geniuses that take total creative control.
Yeah, give me good shit.
Then you
Shout
get
out Kubrick.
Kanye West.
Great example.
Fuck.
Perfect example to pull from.
Yeah.
Okay,
You get
next.
the good and the bad.
Yeah, the very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, picture this. It's 2003. You're going to the movies with your family. You're playing Pokemon on your Game Boy, and your dad says, "Put it down. I'm tired of you playing Pokemon. You're a fucking failure. I'm tired of this shit. Put it down. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you when you get home." And then you go to the movies and you see Nonnas by Vince Vaughn.
Oh.
This came out this year, but this is a 2003 movie.
Yeah.
And people have been shitting on it, but fuck them, they're wrong.
Really?
Carly was watching it last night. It looked really good.
It's good. It's about a guy who wants to randomly start a restaurant where all the cooks are Italian Nonnas, Italian grandmothers, and all the hilarity that ensues. Susan Sarandon's in it. Great
Shout out.
actress.
Love her. Great actor.
Love her.
She's great.
Yeah, just it's exactly what you think it is. It's like a family movie about Italian grandmas,
Okay.
and just watch it. It's fine. I liked it.
Follow that up with a boiling point right after.
Yeah. Then burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That's
So
all
you
I got.
recommend? Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
I recommend both of those.
Nice.
All right. Let's get into Age of Audio, the documentary that you have been creating for the past 7 years.
This shit sucks, dude.
Fuck it, dude.
Get out of here.
You drew me in. You drew me in. Just
It was all a trap.
Dude, okay.
I love that we watched a rough cut, and it's like
Yeah.
great, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really impressive that you like. It's gonna have like a few more reenactments. It's gonna have more motion graphics, like less talking head, basically.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get rid of some of that talking head.
Well, that was going to be my first question is we saw a rough cut so
I mean, rough cut is maybe a little too. I wouldn't say a rough cut. I would say you've got a cut that's not a fully polished.
Gotcha.
So it's
It requires some finishing touches.
right. It doesn't have the fine. Like there's a bunch of sound design not in there.
Color.
Like final color.
Yeah.
There's like things like that. But as far as it's a story, like it's story locked. That's the story.
So
basically.
total runtime, the one we watched was 70 something.
I think it's an hour and 18, which you guys got,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it'll end up being an hour 22.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
It's a little bit more voiceover. There's we got some sponsorships. We had some another
Shout out
person that we
Fleshlight.
Not unfortunately, I tried. We reached
That would be
out.
funny, yeah.
We reached
Yeah.
out. We wanted to. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a moment. There's like a
Yeah.
post-read ad kind of thing. We wanted it to be Fleshlight. It's not who it is in the movie because we would have liked to have that money, but
Yeah.
That'd have been such a great meta joke.
but we're still. I mean, we're doing these test screenings, and so we're still. That slot is open.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to get someone to buy it. So
yeah.
Got an open slot for an open slot. If you know
Oh,
what I'm
there you go. Nice.
It writes itself,
It writes
Fleshlight. Get on it.
Do your fucking thing, dude.
Get fucking real.
We thought it'd be hilarious if Fleshlight ended up doing it, but
Yeah. So tell us why. Tell us why. For context, why Fleshlight?
why Fleshlight?
Yeah, I mean, we watched it, but tell the people.
Well, Fleshlight, and it goes into detail in the movie, but it was one of the first. I wouldn't necessarily say the first, but one of the first major advertisers of a podcast network.
yeah.
Kevin
Kevin Smith and
Kevin
Joe
Smith.
Rogan famously too.
Yeah, Joe Rogan as well. Like, so they were like, it's kind of one of those, and especially the movie. has a lot of NPR and Ira Glass, and the juxtaposition between those two things always made,
because that's what podcasting was, right?
Right.
That's that's what people first thought of when you hear the word podcast. That's what you hear. Like you hear the Ira Glass voice in your head,
right?
Or This American Life, like that,
which is actually not what it was. What you guys are doing, according to the guy, Dave Weiner,
right?
One of the guys who was one of the first podcasts. It really was not supposed to be produced. It was not. It was supposed to be raw and just people. That was for radio, and this was for everybody else. And then. But a lot of people associate it with what This American Life did and those kind of things. But yeah, there was I have a great story about this, so I could tell the story.
Let's hear it.
So Kevin,
I fucked a fleshlight.
That's it. That's the story.
Not yet, but I did buy one for the movie. For the movie.
For the movie.
Yeah, for a bit. It's just a bit, babe. Chill out.
For that one frame, just a one shot.
Yeah.
Ew, gross.
There's hair in it.
So I had, when I was doing my research for the movie, just listening to industry podcasts. Shout out to the Wolf Den, old podcast about the podcast industry that the Earwolf was doing for a while. And Kevin Smith, we told a story about the Fleshlight, and we were filming in L.A. and he does the Fat Man
on Batman,
Fat Man on Batman, and now Fat Man Beyond, and where if you go, he signs stuff, so you could put stuff up. And so I was like, maybe I'll pitch him on being in this documentary because it'd be funny to talk about Fleshlight. I think it'd be hilarious this moment. And so me and my buddy go to the show. I have my first movie, which is called A Fat Wreck, about this punk rock. It's a record label. And so I bought the Blu-ray to put up there and to sign. But really, it was a way to get a note to him, like, "Hey, can I talk to you after the thing?" or something like that. So we put it on, and man, through the show, he's looking at it. I see him like clock it like 2 or 3 times. Where he like even picks it up and he's looking at it. So I'm like,
so the note was inside of like the slipcover.
It was like on top. Like,
so yeah, so I see. So you put it between the plastic and the Blu-ray case, so it's right on the cover.
Right, so he can see it.
Okay, so it's not like he used opening. Okay, I got you.
Right, so he's just kind of seeing it. It has a thing, but you can see the movie. The movie has puppets, so it's something interesting that you might,
sure,
it might grab his attention. Is my goal.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, they're coming to the segment where they're going to sign all the stuff, and sometimes they'll bring them up. Maybe I'll get to talk about the movie. This will be great,
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, this is where the part where we normally sign stuff, but today we're gonna do something a little different. And I'm like, what the? You're like, no, what? And then they bring out the writers of Endgame.
What?
And you're like, well, I'm definitely getting up there.
Well, and also I'm like a huge fan, so I'm like, well, this is awesome anyway, but I'm also kind of like, damn it, it's like the thing I was trying to do this, but I also am a fan, so I was like enjoying it as a fan.
Sure.
And so they do that, and that whole segment to the end of the show is basically like Kevin asking the Endgame writers about Marvel stuff, basically.
Sure.
So and they're like, okay, show's over, and instead of going back to the place where they had all the stuff signed, and this by now everyone's picked up their stuff that was signed, and my thing is just still sitting there, like, and he, instead of going back there, he leaves and leaves the thing on the thing. And so I was like, oh, I missed my shot.
Yeah.
I missed my shot. I was like, I know they hang out in the back alley. I'm going to just run back there.
Going back there.
I'm just going to run back. So I do the thing, you do the thing where you
that's a punk rocker right there, because that same thing after shows. It's like they will be in the back,
there
at some point.
So I go back there and I, don't run up. I saunter up and try to like pretend, I'm not like, hey, Kevin, I'm just kind of just joining.
Like, oh, hey.
Joining the conversation, just kind of joining the conversation and kind of stand there.
Sure.
But before I get there, JC, the owner of the bar, he's like, hey man, this is private,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So I run back and and I was with my cinematographer and my buddy, good friend Joel Herrera. He comes out and he's chatting it up with the writers of the Endgame on the corner.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey man, he didn't grab the Blu-ray. And so he hands it to me. I'm like, you know what? I saw him clock it. I'm going to go and try one more time. You know what I mean? And I go around to the alleyway. It's all cleared out. It's gone. And there's this black SUV backing out. It stops. Window rolls down. Kevin goes, hey man, was that supposed to be for me? And
the Blu-ray?
Yeah. He was like, hey, is that supposed to be for me? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, yeah, this is my first movie. But hey, I'm doing this documentary about podcasting. blah blah blah, and I say, hey, I want to talk about Fleshlight. He's like, oh, I'm in. So like, so he agreed to do it, do the movie, and it took a little while to get it all locked in, but
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You had just had to be very fucking persistent. I
And-
mean, that's what filmmaking is, period. But
it's dude, it is persistent. You know, and like I think movies don't get made if someone's not pushing the boulder the entire time.
exactly.
But it also was timing. If I would have waited a little bit longer or talked to the Endgame guys instead of trying to go back that last time, he might have just left.
yeah, or just giving up when he walked out of the building.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my Kevin Smith story.
Was he the
awesome.
one sort of interview that you got on this that legitimized everybody else, or
No, I think that was Ira Glass.
getting Ira Glass?
Now that's an interesting story too.
Yeah, please.
I was working on this other project where it was kind of like following a band. The project kind of fell apart since, but at that time we were filming in New York because we were following the band to one of their shows. One of my other favorite bands is this band called Propagandhi, and they were playing New York at the same time. So I was like, oh, I'd like to go to that show. And one of the opening band happened to be friends with, and the guy was like, hey, you got camera stuff. Why don't you film our opening set at this Propagandhi show? I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll get into the show for free, film thing, probably get access to, backstage access and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And on the way to the show, I get a text from him. He's like, hey, my uncle's coming to the show. And I'm like, okay. My uncle's Ira Glass. Like, what? So, like, I'm like, these two things are like this punk rock band and Ira Glass. I'm just not, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I go to the show, and I end up hanging out with Ira, like, not just like met him, like we were hanging out and talking. He was asking about the movie and what we were doing. He ended
So
up,
you were already doing the podcast documentary? At the
No,
time?
this is
just the punk rock
this
thing.
is just a thing. This isn't even
The band.
is not even a idea. I wouldn't even thought about it. So I meet him. He even comes to the band that we were filming with. He comes to that show too. So like hangs out all night, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So a couple days later, I'm interviewing this guy named Dallas Taylor. He does this podcast called 20,000 Hertz. If you haven't heard it, it's a podcast about sound. It's really amazing. It's about sound design, all the different kind of things about sound, not just sound design, but all kind of stuff. It's really amazing. Dude is sick. We both know. Have you guys familiar with Roman Mars? No. He's in the movie. He does the 99% Invisible.
Okay, yeah.
So he had on my first movie done the a pull quote because I had sent him the movie. I'd figured out I was a fan, and figured out he was a punk rock fan, and so I was like reached out to him. So he did this pull quote. So when I'm talking to Dallas, I tell him the story about Ira, and he's like, "Dude, you know Ira Glass and Roman Mars. Why don't you do a podcast documentary?" And I'm like, fuck you. Now I have to fucking do that.
Don't you hate when that happens? I know what you mean, where it's like, fuck, I have that idea and I've got to fucking do it.
I have to do it. Like, how
had those
is that I ran into Ira Glass in such a kismet kind of way?
Yeah, no, that's
and
awesome.
so like within, I mean, there's a little more to the story, but I don't want to bore everyone with more anecdotes. But basically, like within a few months after that, we're starting to shoot the pod doc. Like, and then I didn't reach out to Ira Glass first. I waited till we had already got things going.
That makes sense.
And so but once I got him, almost everyone else was
kind of fell in line after that.
Yeah, because I think within the space, Ira Glass is well respected within the industry.
Of course.
So
yeah.
like, and one of the tricks to doing a documentary is no one's doing it because they care about me. They're doing it. Oh, I'm going to be in a documentary, and I'll be in the same documentary as Ira Glass. So that's a thought process, I would imagine. I'm not 100% sure, but
For sure. I mean, that's how a lot of movies get made, where it's like, oh, Brad Pitt is tied to it, or Tom Cruise is in talks.
You have that one person that legitimizes it
Right.
for everybody else.
And then
because otherwise it's just a script or an idea. Like, I'm doing a podcast documentary, and they're like,
cool.
Yeah.
and then be like, Ira Glass is in it. They're like, oh, you really are doing a podcast documentary. Like that's what happened.
Like,
well, as soon as on the listing, you have Kevin Smith too, which at least for me, when we were getting into talking about movies, that was like it for me. Like I was listening to every one of his shows. It was Smodcast,
Yeah.
Batman, Fat Man on Batman, all of those. I was running down the whole fucking gamut of the Smodcast empire. And then to see that along with everybody else that you got, I was like, this is a legit podcast documentary, not about what podcasting is now, but like you said, the history, the grandscape of what podcasting.
Well, and then we
has
have
become.
Ronald Young Jr.
Yeah.
He's the guy, because I didn't just want it to be just talking heads and just these guys talking about the past. So part of the documentary is you're following along this this guy Ronald Young
Yeah,
Jr.
you get
about
that framing
his
narrative
where
yeah.
he is, where you're hopefully you care about what's happening to him, and you
Absolutely.
can. There's a parallel between him trying to make it in podcasting after it's kind of already broken.
Exactly.
And
Love that.
Like, and I think for me, every movie. I think whenever you make a movie, in some way you're making it about yourself, even though it's not about me specifically.
Of course,
But-
you're putting yourself in it.
Vicariously living through his narrative.
Well, I think a lot of, you guys might, hopefully that it connects with people who are creatives and trying to do an independent thing and how hard it is and the struggles, even when you are getting recognition for what you're doing.
Yeah.
How hard it is to even break through in an industry that's been established, in podcasting those early days, it wasn't as established. So you could be one of the people like Mark Maron. Mark Maron just started doing this thing, or even Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
They just started doing it not because like, oh, I'm gonna break through. This is gonna be my gig.
He didn't do that to get a deal worth $250 million.
Right. That was not in the brain.
No.
That's not even a concept at that time. Like
No.
it's not something. So
I can't wait to sell this to Spotify. Like that wasn't the impetus behind the idea of like, let me get with my friends and talk about bullshit for 3-4 hours at a time.
Didn't he just go on Tom Green's internet show, and then he's like, "Oh shit, you can just do this."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
that planted the seed. Him going on Tom Green's internet show,
Yeah.
planted the seed. Like, dude, you don't have producers, you don't have anything. You can just talk. You can just do this and talk to people, and that was the input, like the seed that made the JRE.
and who knows if that's it's like one of those things where it's as the industry has professionalized and a lot of the top people have kind of solidified their place. There's not going to be another Joe Rogan probably anytime soon.
No, of course
everybody's like, "Where's the liberal Joe Rogan?" And
It's
like
like-
all that shit. Where it's like,
Yeah, but they would have had to start
it's like, did you forget about NPR?
right.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Well, it's so like the going through and hopefully people can, even if they're not super into podcasts, like I've heard some people say, oh, they like the movie and they didn't know about the stuff about podcasts. They don't really listen, but connecting with someone who's trying to make it in a thing is something that hopefully anyone can connect with, because you either are that person or someone in your life that's that person.
Yeah, I think like it was really smart to have that human element, because you're doing broad strokes about the history and like the cultural moments and the pivotal things that made podcasting, but then bringing it down to a human level was like it's a vehicle for the ride. I thought it was great.
And
yeah.
especially for people that are going to get into it that are just now starting podcasting, to have somebody like that as a through line to it, that kind of gives them the legitimacy of like, oh, this guy is still making it, and he still has goals, and he has had setbacks as well. But it's like you're living vicariously through him throughout the doc.
And we were very lucky. Like I had 2 other subjects that ended up over the course of the years dropping out.
Oh, wow.
And the last one dropped out. I was pretty devastated because we had worked with them for like 2 years, and then it's 7 years because you're raising money and you're doing. It's not like I worked on it every day for 7 years. It's like trying to work, trying to get it, trying to go and do interviews. COVID hits. We kind of can't go do interviews for like a year or 2 years. Jeez. So like, and then when the last people dropped out, it was a super bummer. But I'm so grateful in a way because we were able to catch Ronald right as he was hitting the stride.
Yeah.
So we were able to be there. Like, if you can watch the trailer, it's, we have a YouTube thing. You can watch the trailer. It's, AOA Movie is our YouTube thing. It's just got the trailer right now. So, but we were able to capture him when he is like the moments when he's hitting those things.
Yeah.
And so you get that little cinema verite aspect where it's not just talking head. You can you're living through a moment, a pretty exciting moment. It's like, because he wins a bunch of awards and he basically sweeps an awards thing. We didn't know if he was going to win.
Right.
We hoped.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
just there for like a documentarian, there for the ride.
Yeah.
You capture that moment,
and we're
too, which is
right
brilliant.
there. And that's that's like a thing that, that's one of those things, if you're as a documentarian, you can sit someone down and talk about something, but to be able to have the movie also contain a moment that could not be scripted. It could not be set up.
Like a human life event.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So like, and
It was very storybook.
yeah,
For him, yeah, it's amazing.
and it was fun being there. It was exciting. So when it hits, like I'm having like this like weird excitement as well because I'm like, yes, for the movie.
yeah. Like
You're happy for him.
I'm like, I'm so happy for you. But yes, we got this on. And then
Yeah.
every subsequent like win, you're like, oh, I can't believe like this is happening and we're capturing it and we're
Yeah.
actually here. This is happening. So
Yeah.
And to use him as the voice of the documentary when you have all these, I mean, like you're talking about, you have like the forefathers of podcasting, but to use him as your narrator for the doc was just
host.
your host,
the
your host of the doc. Brilliant choice.
So and that was the other thing we were trying to do with the doc is it there are production elements that we brought in like a narrative podcast.
You could
sure.
listen to the documentary.
You think
Yeah.
originally I was really ambitious and I was like, you should be able to listen to this with no visuals. And you can, except for the
can.
fact the if you don't know who those people are or their voices,
True.
you would need a host coming and saying, and this is Mark Maron or something. And it just we tried, it just wouldn't work. There were things that we tried and it wouldn't work.
And a big part of that is that the visual elements are excellent as well on top of that. And that was something that I kind of wanted to bring up with you as far as like aesthetically. You said that you don't watch a lot of documentaries, but did you have
I mean, I have in the past. I'm sure like over the
Okay.
last 7 years.
what was aesthetically the influence? Because I love the like close up talking heads.
I'm
like that was
so
such a great choice.
Glad you said that, man.
Because
I made it. We took a risk in that.
Yes, it is.
I took a risk because like there's a rule that you're not supposed to do that. Like
Fuck that,
in
though.
film. In film, you're not supposed to be close up because it can make people feel uncomfortable. And I was worried but it was a choice I made with my cinematographer that I wanted it to feel as intimate as a podcast does in your ears.
I love
I wanted
that,
it to be
dude.
a visual thing, and like I said, it was a risk because we were breaking a rule. Like we broke a couple rules. Like it's not 16:9. It's it's a Panavision 2. I'm getting super nerdy now.
No, please.
But
now we're talking.
This
Let's
is the
go.
right show.
But the idea is that most documentaries are supposed to feel like real life, so they do 16:9. I wanted to make it be bigger than life. So it's like I'm trying to
cinematic.
I'm trying to hype it up and make it bigger, like show that it's an important thing.
Yeah.
And so like the idea of having the widescreen and having that close up, I really pushed it with my cinema. He kept going back. I'm like, no. And committing to it where it's like, no, I don't want to push in on your thing. I want it to be close.
Yeah.
And-
Future Chris, zoom in right there on everything.
And it's like I said, it's supposed to be ears and mouth. Like
Yeah.
That is such a risk to take when you're interviewing these guys that you're probably only going to get once. I'm only going to get this one opportunity, and instead of like going wide on them, let's get up close and
I
personal.
also want it to look different than other documentaries, and there's so many documentaries
Thank
right
fucking
now.
God you didn't do that thing where they come in and sit down with the clappers, dude. Thank fucking
Well,
God.
it's
you didn't do that.
overdone, and
Yeah.
even the shots. I've seen beautiful shots in documentaries that are your.
but they're used sparingly, dude. They're not the whole interview.
right. Well, I'm talking about the mid shot that they usually do,
yeah,
or the
overdone.
and it's done all the time, and they'll set up the backgrounds.
Yeah.
But also, it's a way like I don't have to worry about releases in a lot of places because you can't see anything from the room. It's just all face. But it was definitely an aesthetic choice that I made early on and committed to it. And wasn't sure how it was exactly going to play with people. And I'm really curious because I'm sure you watched it on we haven't watched it on a big screen. So I have seen we showed portions of the movie at this podcast festival called Resonate. We showed about 12 minutes of the movie. And I was like, and I did have somebody say like, man, it was mostly Ronald's face, which even the cut that you'll see next, there's so much more motion graphics over. We wanted to try and only use the face of the host because it's real close on him. Only when he was like smiling or giving an emotional thing, and the rest of it we're trying to cover up with either B-roll or like we have motion graphics that are when he's explaining something. So as the cut you'll see, if you guys go to the festival, if you end up seeing it again, there'll be less of his close-ups of his face.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was also a choice to have him as the host, like get these 3 shots of like his
I mean, yeah, you're in it. Yeah, you're very close.
You're not
on
even
him.
seeing his eyes most of the time. You're just seeing his
Nope.
mouth and him talking into
But
the...
genius when you're talking. If it's called Age of Audio, it's about podcasting. Is brilliant. So there are two scenes specifically where I was like, okay, this motherfucker's cooking. Like the two scenes specifically. When you explain the definition and the inception of the word podcast, that scene is brilliant, dude. And then the cuts with Steve Jobs in there too, on top of that, and the way you're able to like use him in that, explaining where the word podcast comes from, and then out of fucking nowhere, you get the journalist that wrote the fucking name.
Yeah,
He
but
wrote
the setup is brilliant.
He
because
created the word. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like it's the montage of that, and then a bunch of people commenting, "Oh, I hate that fucking word podcast."
I would beat his fucking ass.
yeah.
punch him in the throat.
Yeah.
Yes, and then cut to him. He's like, "Hi, I invented the word podcast." Like after all that, it's very funny.
What's really funny is that like there's a couple times where they break the fourth wall, where they're looking like they turn to camera unprompted.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But then because those interviews are probably 4 years apart, so when I did interview Ben Hammersley, I said, I want you to turn to the camera and apologize. So that you have this thing where there's like this conversation. We had a few more of those, but it was kind of, you want to pull it down. And,
well, because like he's talking to the hosts that are giving him shit for making the word
right. They're reaching back and having this conversation between each other, which
from years apart.
Oh man, it was like 4 years apart. It's so funny. But I played him a montage of everyone talking shit on the thing. And so
It just played
and
this
it
montage
feels
of
like
people
he just
talking
watched
shit,
it.
and you're just like, thoughts?
Yeah.
oh, but he the guy was such a good sport. He's a really good dude.
He changed the world, dude.
Yeah, and and we don't want to spoil it too much, but it's the fact that it wasn't this. People like hate that word, but you know who chose the word is people chose it.
Yeah, he was like, he threw up like multiple ideas, and he's like, I'm sorry, you picked that one. Like,
Yeah, everyone hates the word, but that's how everyone, like, that's what people were drawn to. And, Adam...
What else do you call it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the...
What else do you call it?
And Adam Curry, we don't go into it as much, but Adam Curry had a say in trying to popularize that as well. So there's... obviously, with anything, there's
And then obviously
tons
Steve
of
Jobs'
nuance.
endorsement.
Him saying it on stage.
The inclusion, the word pod being on an iPod, like...
But the word podcast is before it was,
Before there was even an iPod.
Well, yeah, like there was before there was not before there was an iPod, before iTunes, like they had podcast,
Right.
before the audio things were on where you could download them. Like
Right.
they kind of like people are already popularized the word prior to it going on, and that's why a lot of people think it's like Apple invented the word.
Yeah.
And it's like no, they embraced it.
they claimed it. Yeah.
Well, and they
They could have invented a word, but they chose to use the word that everyone was using.
and they kind of were
Adopt it, right?
Benevolent overlords for a long time with podcasting, where they just kind of let it do its thing, and it helped their device have content, but they weren't trying to control it, which is actually very strange for a big company,
Especially Apple.
right? Well, I think I think that's the Steve Jobs era. I think
True.
this is a very different Apple at that point in time,
Yeah.
and the value of being able to have massive amounts of content created for your device for free is smarter than trying to control it.
Yeah, they're just being like, hey, we're a directory. And just becoming a directory for, like, they didn't host the files. It cost them next to nothing. Maybe they have server space that holds an RSS feed, but that's really it. It's just a text file. So, yeah, it's genius for Steve Jobs to be like, oh, we can, acquire 1 million radio shows? Crowdsource. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you got the music too, but it's like, that's where, that's the launching pad of, like, when it got popularized, right?
Well, that's Spotify's playbook there for a while. They're like, hey, we can get this into our system, and like anytime someone's listening to a podcast, they're not listening to a song, it's not costing us money.
Yeah. So, the other scene?
The other scene I wanted to bring up where I was like, this is fucking brilliant, was the editing scene. You're talking about editing within the documentary, and you have these the cuts, the interjections, and just the way you're able to edit a story or a segment about editing. Dude.
Okay, I gotta give credit where credit is due there. That is a gentleman called Daniel Sachs out of Germany. He had done this thing. You should look it up. If you're a creative, it's a great thing. It's called The Gap. Ira Glass's The Gap. And he had done these visuals with Ira talking about what it's basically, if you want the gap between your taste and your skill set, the way to bridge that gap is to do a lot of work. And I had seen this, and it had been floating around within the podcast space and just creative space for a long time. And when I thought about it, I was like, I want to have something like that in the movie. So I reached out to Daniel like a couple years ago, and man, and there's the cut you saw, it doesn't have them, but all the acts are going to be from Daniel as well. So as we talk about it, and what's amazing about him is, dude, each one of those frames, it's usually like a static, it's not moving. The tarot cards, all made from scratch.
Amazing.
Everything made, and aged them, like he took his family up into the mountains. There's a scene where they undo a map.
Yeah.
He took his entire, legitimately like hours away.
Oh my
up
God.
into a mountain to get that shot. Like the guy, I mean, it's almost unfathomable what he does to just get that one thing. And the design, he sound designed it. Like I basically was like, hey, here's this clip of Ira Glass talking about editors, which I loved.
Dude, yeah, the way he describes editing, he articulated it so well and so brilliantly. Whereas like he took the thoughts out of my head, but just articulated in such a more like digestible and beautiful way.
And the fact that it's Ira Glass doing it too,
of
on top of
course.
that was just brilliant.
I'm hope like after the movie, is out, I want to eventually take that segment and then put it out like on YouTube or something like that. So,
Yeah.
because I mean, we
on
make
TikTok, man, honestly, that would blow the fuck up.
True.
we're talking about editing like in the broader sense, not necessarily cutting scenes together. We're talking about the editing of taking an idea and whittling it down into its best parts. It's the most, and usually that's another person, is an editor. And so, like, to make it clear, it's like not just someone sitting behind a keyboard. It's someone going over a script. It's something looking at a book. It's like a book editing. When we're talking about editing, we're not necessarily talking about like making something shorter.
No.
It's someone taking someone's idea, seeing what's beautiful about it. And I'm doing it in a much less eloquent way than Ira, but it's in making it a great thing. And I feel like once the movie comes out, there's a lot of people that can send that to their friend who's an editor or somebody who's it's an amazing thing.
That was exactly what I did, because as soon as I watched it, I asked Chris, did you see this scene?
Yeah.
Like it blew me away. And it's
Yeah.
one of those where it's like I wanted to share it with everybody.
And it's one of those things too. It's where it's like you connect dots in a structure. You find the story sometimes in editing, which I'm sure you've realized, where it's like you've got hours of interview footage, and let's say you have 30 minutes where you're like, oh, that's all bullshit. That's not relevant. It's unusable, whatever. Then you have one other interview where this person says this thing. And you're like, oh fuck, that connects to this, dude. Yeah, those moments where you're sitting there, like, and you connect dots in your head, and you just like. And you're just at a keyboard, and you're like, "I'm a fucking genius." You're like, "Wait, how does anybody not seeing this shit?" It's just you and a computer, and you're just like, "Oh man!" And like you got goosebumps, and you're like, the story comes together, and then it's those moments.
It's an amazing thing. Or just reordering something where it was two quotes after, but if you put it one quote before, all of a sudden, all this makes sense now.
Yes.
Like it's just this amazing thing, and that'll be my contribution, and that's why I have to give it up to Daniel Sachs, because I'll make it clear that I had the idea, but like as the director, but I
execution.
I had him do it because I knew what he would do would make that an amazing thing.
But it's one of those cool things, like in the middle of the talking heads, where it's just like, here's a montage,
a brief digression. That's what I call it. I call it a brief digression. When I put it up, it'll be called a brief digression.
Yeah. No. It
was so good, man.
Yeah.
And what about the fleshlight?
Let's get down to brass tacks.
That's also like I'm so glad you guys enjoy the movie, and the stuff you guys are talking about is like really like encouraging, because these are the things that I hoped people would get out of it. And when you're making something, you hope certain things connect. And I do want to have that juxtaposition of being highfalutin but then also bringing it back down and be like, okay, yeah, let's editing and it's beautiful and storytelling, like, and Fleshlight.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, that's the ridiculous story of podcasting too. It's part of the journey of it. It's like when you democratize something like this to the people, like you get shit like that where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have hourglasses and like This American Life and serials like, you know, like really brilliant production quality story narratives, and then you're gonna have our show talking
Three
about
assholes on a couch,
Yeah.
like, which is a direct quote.
Yeah, but I
like-
think you guys balance between those two things.
We try.
You guys are thoughtful, but also irreverent. I think that's probably why your fans love you so much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to say.
But also in the
We're
editing
all right.
too, when it's like another thing where you talk about like moving a clip earlier and it changes like the entire idea or narrative. One of my favorite things too is when I'm doing talking head stuff, choosing what you cut to, like what the quote underneath can change so much. Like supporting footage, and I'm sure you've hit this, where it's like, oh my god, he said something about this, and I have a moment that is synonymous with this, and then you get these supporting ideas, and someone is telling you something, but then you're also telling the viewer something. Like, I don't know, man. I'll stop talking about editing.
There is a
Is there an
moment.
award for editing
That
here.
is, yes, that's a Clio. That is a Clio for editing. Yes.
So like that's great. I mean that's great because it really that aspect you were able to connect with that as well.
I could nerd out on the editing of your doc for a long time, but
And it's a lot of editing. It's been edited a lot.
I got to see that timeline, buddy.
It's not even the timeline. I tell you, working with Ellen, I haven't shouted her out yet, but Ellen Horn, she's a NYU professor. She teaches like podcast and storytelling studies. There's a name for her department.
Sure.
But she was a co-creator of Radio Lab, and I've got a masterclass in editing and storytelling from her.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because we had a script. We would script out a transcript of the entire movie, and we iterate. I mean, still technically iterating, just making those final little touches, which are very small, but could pretty be impactful.
Yeah.
And like, if this movie is great, it's because of Ellen Horn. It was good. I could make a good movie. I think I really feel strongly I can make a pretty good movie. But to make something great took like having Ellen involved and going through and just like she was a monster, like going through and just murdering, just slaughtering babies left and right. Stuff that has
explain that for the people that don't like.
Oh.
You can't just say
You can't just say slaughtering babies.
Kill Your Darlings is like there's things within a piece that you're making that you like or you think it's funny or you think is like an important thing, and so you want to keep it in there. And does it serve the story? Is it doing what it needs to do? Is it like is the pace of the storytelling keeping up? Is it bogging it down? And are you keeping it there because you like it, or is it there because it's helping the story? And learning that is really hard.
Is it
that's
there
why-
for the grand design?
Yeah, but that's why editors are important, because directors they're so close to this footage, like there's no way we can cut that. That's mine. I shot it and I like that part. And then you get an editor, you're like, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what? And it's like, editors are great at killing babies.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
That's-
I've felt that.
I got an award for baby killing, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I've felt it. I mean, when she was going through it, I literally would have like visceral reactions, like "What? We're getting rid of this?" And
Yeah.
but I trusted her so much that I would, and my philosophy was always, "Let's cut it.
Yeah.
Let's cut it." And if I truly feel it needs to be in there, it can make its way back at some point.
You know what's really fun as an editor sometimes to be like, show someone a version and be like, I got one more version for you, and then just hit play and then seeing if they notice what's gone. And then I'm like, if you didn't notice it, then yeah.
And usually, you know, it's better.
Yes, that's the thing, is like it's almost frustrating sometimes, like because I've done that too. Like even as an editor, I was like, oh, I love that shot, even if I didn't do it. But I'm like, I love that moment or that little like candid moment or this expression, and then I cut it out and I'm like, fuck, it's better.
It's better. You're like,
I'm
no,
like,
I had
damn it.
many moments like that.
Yeah.
But there are a few things that I like.
I'm sure over
I
7
missed,
years.
Even going over it, I was like, hey, we need to put that back. I think it'd be important. And now we've cut it out, and I think we should put it back. And that it gives it like it's legitimate to put it back at that point.
Yeah. Well, art's never finished, only abandoned, and especially with documentaries, like you could cut 100,000 movies out of this, I'm sure. So it's like, so yeah. So I want to ask about like basically your background first too. Oh,
Sure.
not first, but we're deep in the shit. But your background, Like, what got you into filmmaking in general? Because I think you said you were an audio engineer.
Yep, so audio engineer. I really hit music real hard for the first 10 years of my adult life. Like coming out of my 20s, I thought I was going to do music, and me and my buddy started a recording studio. We started a small little record label because we had a recording studio. It made sense, and really for about 10 years, really hit that really hard. And there was a situation with my one of my hetero life mates, if you're familiar with the term, had some personal issues, and kind of everything on the music and stuff kind of fell apart. And I was like, well, maybe I should try film. And it's actually really funny. I was I have a background in marketing, so I was basically the marketing director of this talent development school, and I don't want to mention them, but it's like teeny bopper type stuff, and they were learning to sing and dance, and they perform and stuff like that, and they were doing music videos, but the music videos were all going outside, and I was like, and they weren't very good, so I was like, I know a director guy, I'm going to take over, and let's bring those in house. We'll keep that money and also have a little quality control as well. And so I produced like 1 or 2 music videos, and I think the third one I did, and these are wealthy families, I should point that out. The third music video I did, they had like a $20,000 budget, which is like for a music video.
And it's just like
for kids.
It's just like a kid
for
that's
a 14, 15-year-old.
right, that just wants a music video.
And the family
birthday.
It was Rebecca Black.
Yeah, the family was great, and she's really talented. And we ended up doing I hired a crew. We shot on red. We had cars and actors. It was like I told him I wanted a big thing of bacon, at the Crafty. I got the full production experience as a producer, and because everything was going pretty good the day of, me and my buddy who's now the cinematographer Joel, I was like, why don't we take some cameras and just do a little behind the scenes thing? And I had done some editing, just performance editing, cutting between cameras on performances kind of stuff. And I was like, let's do a little behind the scenes thing. And so it was the first thing that I cut, and we had some funny moments in it that we did. And when we showed it to the family, because it wasn't part of the package, it was just for fun to do it. They we like this. And they were going to have a theater to show the music video, of course.
Of course. Yeah, they rented out the Cinemark Web Chapel IMAX.
It wasn't that one, but they did rent out a theater. Yeah. And so I was like, they were like, hey, do you want to show this before we show the music video? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And that was my first experience of seeing something that I had edited on screen and having people laugh and respond. And I had always been a musician, and so I've had that experience, but you can never see yourself perform.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But with a film, you can be in the audience and see, experience it with the audience, which is a different experience. Cool. And I loved it. I was like, oh man, I like this feeling. This is cool.
You caught the filmmaking
dance puppets.
That's what Hugh Jackman needed in The Prestige. Yeah. He needed to make a fucking movie, dude.
Yeah. How could you not know? How could you not know?
Instead of killing yourself every night.
So that went over well, and I was talking to Joel. We were in a band together, and I practiced, and I was like, that was great. We should do another short, but maybe we should do about something that we care about. Nothing against them, but that's, it's for fun, but it wasn't something we were passionate about.
Something up to us, right?
Right, yeah. And at the time, I think there was a bunch of punk rock documentaries hitting Netflix,
American Hardcore?
No, that had been on there a while. There was a new one about that. It's a group of black brothers that had that.
A band called Death, right?
Yeah,
that was a fucking great.
And
doc.
I was like,
Scott Mosier.
Oh, that's Scott Mosier. Oh shit! How did I not know that?
Yeah,
dude, you're connecting dots right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, Scott Mosier directed that.
No fucking way.
Yep.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
You're giving me.
I don't know if he directed it. He definitely produced it. He was definitely heavily involved.
Well, that's crazy. Because Scott Mosier's in our movie, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he directed Freebirds too.
And The Grinch.
And The Grinch, yeah.
So basically, I was like, but there's been docs like you said, American Hardcore and these other docs, but they were always about the 80s and the violent part of punk rock. And the punk rock I grew up on was like Fat Records, skate punk, like where it was like, almost call it neo hippie because it was like about community and people cared about each other. They were, like kind of political a little bit and cared about what was going on. And I was like, how come no one's ever talked about like NoFX and these kind of bands? Like why is there not a doc about that? And I think that's always a good thing when you're thinking of something. Why hasn't someone made that?
Like something you want to see.
And we weren't so ambitious that we thought we were going to make a feature. We were just like, hey, why don't we like interview our friends and other band people that we know that have been influenced by these and make a little short about like the influence of Fat Records on the people that we know.
Yeah.
And we had our recording studio. I had one of the people from Fat Records, Joey Cape, had just recorded one song for free because we'd invited him. So I had like a little bit of an in. And so we end up, I just go to Las Vegas, punk rock bowling, and start shooting. I didn't know how to ISO worked. I didn't really know what cameras. I was like, asked my buddy, I was like, what should I rent? And I just went over there and asked a few people if they would sit down with the lav, and I'd never really interviewed anyone before, and just kind of got the ball rolling. And
It's funny to picture you just like renting a camera and not even knowing anything, and just like seeing somebody like, so what's your fucking deal?
Yeah.
Just like, who are you? And he's like, I'm a documentarian, dude.
Well, I was making this little doc about Fat Records, and they're punk rock people, so they're like, yeah, that's fine.
But you're doing it in a punk rock way.
Exactly.
Where it's
That's
like,
what I was about to say. Like it's like you're doing a punk rock documentary and you're doing it in the most punk rock type.
right.
It was. Well, here's the thing. The company that I was working for as the marketing director, they do these like big talent things at the end of the year, and they bring these producers in to kind of give them grades, maybe give them a deal. Rarely do they get a deal, but like it's kind of like
Scouting in a way.
Yeah. And well, one of the producers they brought in was this guy named Ryan Green. And I had not put two and two together, but when I went out to the punk rock bowling, but when I came back, I was looking at the name. I was like, that sounds so familiar. There's no way it's the Ryan Green that did the studio with Fat Mike from NoFX. Like there's no way. And then I looked up and it was. And literally they were flying him to me. And I was picking him up from the airport. So I was like, hey, dude, like I'm working on this thing, And so far everyone I'd gotten was just people talking about it. But now I had someone who was in it.
Right.
And after that, I reached out to, I had accidentally, because of that recording thing, I had accidentally gotten a thread with a bunch of people from like the punk rock bands, and Fat Mike's email was on there, and I had sat on it, and I was like, well, this is
just like, oh, that's in the CC field. Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I was in bands, and a lot of people send demos and stuff. I was like, I'm not going to do that. But this felt like a real reason to reach out. It's like,
sure.
And once again, it's kind of situation where like I had already started it. I was like, hey, Ryan Green's in this, the guy, and he agreed to do an interview. And once I got Fat Mike, like that, that was everybody,
Yeah.
And we did a Indiegogo to raise money. We were going to raise, still going to do a short. Just going to do a short.
Yeah.
To raise like, $4 or $5 grand. We put the Indiegogo up right away. We had our goal right away. We raised like $34,000.
Holy shit.
And then I got a bunch of press. Like you can look up, there's some things. Dallas Man raises money.
Crazy Dallas man.
Dallas Man raises money. Raises
Better
10,000.
than Florida Man.
They were
but
like
still.
10,000, but they reported when we had 10 grand, and like all of a sudden it kept, and because of the press
Right.
that was coming in, I was able to, and we ended up raising that. And then I had people from Sony, like not Sony. The thing is with Fat Records is that Fat Records fans permeate all of like entertainment.
Right.
So like we would get into festivals, like, so the movie it naturally wanted to be this thing, and we ended up doing these puppets. Like, I was telling them, we had a little pre-chat before we got here, but we ended up doing puppet reenactments for the stuff, and we did these crazy, like these big puppets that are not like Muppets, like they really have bone structure and like tattoos and really detail. This amazing artist, Jenny Cotterill, amazing artist, did them. They're like a year or two ago, they opened up the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas.
Nice.
And so they're on loan. They're in a museum
cool.
now.
So this short, it became a feature, I'm guessing?
Yeah, no short. We went feature.
What's it called?
It's called a Fat Rec.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's about Fat Records. It's also a marketing thing. Their website was fatrec.com.
Uh-huh.
My website is afatwreck.com.
That's awesome.
So like that's like how that movie thing happened.
So
like
where can people find that?
Documentary Plus. You
Nice.
can watch it on Documentary Plus. If you look up A Fat Wreck, like on Google, it'll pop up right away. But if you go to Documentary Plus, you can watch it for free on there.
That's awesome.
It's ad supported deal. It was on Amazon Prime for a few years.
Nice.
We did probably like 12 or 13 film festivals. I went to Canada and the UK, and I mean it screened in like South Africa. We did 70 screenings around the world that I booked myself because I invited. I was like, hey, if you want to do a screening for the show at a bar or a thing, have bands play, just split the door 50-50. And the type of people that were into this label, I mean, maybe people screwed me, but I ended up making a decent amount of money just off of the screenings.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that one was all just.
And so that was what year? When did that come out?
That came out. It started in 2013. I think is when we did the Indiegogo. It came out in 2016, end of 2016.
Okay.
And
so you're riding that for a little while.
I started on that other documentary I told you about, and then halfway through that, not even halfway, about a year and a half into that, the Age of Audio thing, it was that's all crazy too. But I thought it was going to be like that, where it just kind of kept going.
Right.
But Age of Audio started real strong.
Yeah.
Wanted to be made.
Yeah.
And then it didn't want to be made, and it was really COVID and just like raising money. I mean, the ambition's a little higher.
Yeah.
You know, we did.
You're telling a much bigger story.
And I want to tell it in a, I mean, I had never did a documentary before, so like the structure of A Fat Wreck is what I just thought a structure should be, which is not something you would normally do. Some people like it. But it doesn't have a through narrative the way I wanted to have with this movie, where you had someone you could connect to and follow. So I wanted to up my storytelling game big time. But yeah, that's how I just started doing it.
So
That's
what
awesome.
were like the documentary influences on Age of Audio? Like, did you have a few that you were sort of like picking through, like when you're trying to build a story narrative in that way?
I was really looking at narrative podcasts, like and trying
Obviously,
to.
I mean, you're doing a documentary about podcasting.
So like
that
I was
seems
looking at
like
This American Life and these and the way that they were telling stories and trying to emulate that. On the visuals, there's They'll Love Me When I'm Dead, that documentary about
To Amy Winehouse?
no, it's I'm spacing on it. It's like
I'll figure it out.
it's the like Orson Welles.
Oh.
Oh, shit. Never mind. I was way off.
It's a documentary about Orson Welles.
So you've seen his commercial, right?
And
Have you seen his wine commercial?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, this is the doc. What influenced me was the documentary, and that's why we did one of the reasons we did the close-up thing, because in that documentary, it starts off like he was one of the first directors to put the camera in weird places, and like the documentary followed that kind of thing, and I like that philosophy. I think the guy I'm spacing on his name right now. It's a really famous director. 20 Feet from Stardom. He did the Mr. Rogers documentary.
Andrew.
He's amazing. I can't believe I'm spacing on his name.
That documentary was so fucking good, and it didn't get nominated for shit.
Like he did this thing where all the interviews are not. They're all weird. Like half of a face, like down here, like down here. People, if anyone is seeing, I'm pointing down.
Morgan Neville.
Right.
Morgan Neville. Yeah, like he. And the influence is that you craft the documentary to the subject. So like the punk rock documentary was very punk rock. It had like that real aesthetic, the puppets, like the even the way the motion graphics are, it's real like
Lo-fi handcrafted.
handcrafted, which I think is just my vibe anyway. But so like, and it was short. Like it kept the punk. That documentary was short as well because it should be like a punk album, like 30 minutes, not an hour album. You do 30-minute album, like 20 songs in like 30 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
And so like that I wanted to bring into this one where like you're bringing the aesthetic of the subject into the making of the documentary as well. So it's the making of the document. The medium is the message, I think, is the thing. So the way it's made is a reflection on what the subject is. Because he did that with the Mr. Rogers doc. The Mr. Rogers doc is so very different than the Orson Welles doc.
And so different from Roadrunner, the Anthony Bourdain doc, which he also did. An excellent fucking documentary that unfairly was criticized because he used AI, the AI voice of Anthony Bourdain, to read letters written by Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
That's the fucking bullshit.
I didn't even hear about that controversy. That fucking documentary was amazing.
It was blacklisted because he used AI.
Yeah, that's a thing that's going on.
But it's Morgan Neville.
Morgan Neville.
One of the great documentarians.
I got to talk to him one time. I emailed him early on in the process because he has some people like Rishi, who does the Song Exploder. They did the Song Exploder series on Netflix.
Oh, that's a great,
which is also very good.
The Mr. Brightside, or was it?
Actually, you're reminding me. I should reach out to him again and be like, "Hey, bro, I got the movie done."
Yeah.
But he talked to me for about 30, 45 minutes just about my ideas and stuff like that. It was very nice of him.
There's a good Killers episode from Song Exploder. I think it was about what was
he's in the movie too. You probably saw him pop up.
Probably.
Yeah, Rishi Kesh. He's he's in the movie because he was on Radiotopia.
Right.
And we don't go deep into his podcast because it's more talking about Radiotopia and Roman. But yeah, we got him as well. So we're like, hey, your buddy Rishi's in the movie. You should check it out.
And not to spoil it, but you didn't touch on last podcast on the left. Like they were one of those early podcasts that.
To be honest with you, I was going to.
Uh-oh.
But they had that little implosion, and I was actually had started reaching out to Ben,
really,
because a friend of mine had said you should really talk to these guys, and so I'm open. I wanted to try to show the breadth as much as I could, and not that I was like, oh well, screw them because this happened. It's just like the timing, and I don't think it's when they're going through that. I don't think they're probably going to want to talk, or they're probably not going to be as candid. They went
through a big change in the middle of all of that, so.
Which would be its own documentary, to be honest with you. But
probably
they're like, "Oh, what do you want to talk about?" It's like
yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
They're probably getting a lot more press inquiries than just that. So
it's like one of those things. So like it wasn't like oh my gosh, I didn't get them. It was just
clear omission.
But I was in that exploratory phase, trying to see who it would end up in the movie. It's documentary, so the ideas shift over time, what you wanted to do. Originally, I wanted to kind of embed myself with Radio Lab, like a minor producer, like a junior producer at Radio Lab, and kind of see what their process looks like, and then compare that with like an independent podcaster and kind of, juxtaposition the two.
Yeah.
I talked to them, and they told me no. I pitched them the idea. They listened, and they considered it, but they felt like they wouldn't be able to, their processes, or maybe they're just being kind, but their process would interrupt the flow of what they're trying to do by having me there. And
they would probably want final say and cut.
And even if they would have said yes, I asked them the end of 2019, if they would have said yes, it wouldn't happen to me because they're not in those offices anymore. So it's just like things play out how they're supposed to.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, clearly the doc is excellent for what it is. And I know... I was curious though, like in a question that you had, it's like podcasting in this documentary, it's called Age of Audio. You're talking about audio, but the video component, like that's something that's totally changed since the inception of podcasting, and now it's like become production. Like we're talking about
the cut you saw. We actually did an interview. We flew out to LA like a week or two ago and did one more interview because we did want to kind of get at least a nod to that YouTube, and because like we're like, no, we don't mention YouTube in this movie at all.
No,
and right. YouTube is it's where most people listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
and it's so we acknowledge that aspect that things are moving toward the video, and we even have some lines that we did with you have to watch the movie again because there's some slightly different things. We had Ronald kind of talk about like. Mention that like there is a push toward this video, and not to discredit it's an important thing. I think discovery is important, and I think like what you guys do is great, but for video it's good for video, but to do a narrative audio documentary, you can't do it in video because it's you're making a documentary, and then inherently you're doing something different, and you're not able to like be the theater of the mind stuff is going away. So when I thought of the title Age of Audio comes from the fact that everyone at one point was like, oh, we're in the golden age of audio, and I was driving one day after 2 years of trying to figure out what the name of the movie is going to be. I was driving, and I was like, everyone was like, someone else had said, it's a golden age of audio. I was like, it's not a golden age of audio. There was already a golden age of audio. It's just another age of audio. And I was like, that's the name of the movie. But it really, the ideas about audio storytelling. And I think the cut you saw has we kind of start with the fire.
Yeah.
And in original cuts, we had someone say, it's like sitting around the fire or telling stories. But we wanted to do that in a more poetic way. So the movie is really supposed to be someone sitting around the fire telling you the story of audio storytelling. And so that's why we lean so much heavier on like Ira
where
Glass.
it all began. And stuff,
Yeah, it's the oldest thing we've ever done, as humans.
Right.
This is the old thing. This is the first thing. The first stories were somebody telling someone else a story.
Yeah.
And now we do this with this technology. It allows us to tell one to many, but it's still one to one.
Exactly.
Right. Totally.
It's fucking awesome, man. Like seriously, I can't say it enough how much I really, really love this documentary. Like it'll be one of those rewatchables for me. And I don't find those very often when it comes to documentaries. I have a few. Like I just rewatched like all of The Last Dance. You know what I mean? I fucking love that
Bro,
shit, dude.
that is my goal because I'm a Simpsons guy. I'm a Futurama guy, like we were talking about before. Like I want to have layers. And you discover something a little bit different. There's little nods that not everyone is going to get the reference to. I want it to be rewatchable. I want it to be something like, I want to revisit this again. It's fun. It's not a slog. It has some emotional beats. It's not something so heavy that it's, there's great documentaries that are amazing, but you can only watch them once because it's such a heavy topic.
Exactly.
And to hear you say that, dude, you're like, man, you're really helping my confidence right now.
No, and it's one of those situations where it's like, I mean, if I didn't love it, or if it wasn't rewatchable, that's such a specific thing for me. Having those that I can rewatch. This is one of those where I watched it all and I was like, I can't wait to watch it again.
Oh, great. I can't wait
Yeah.
for you to watch again with the slightly new stuff.
I mean, the premiere, I'll be there, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
For sure.
Oh, dude, lovely.
I've got one more question for you, and then we should play some games and wrap it up.
Okay.
But my question is, what do you think of all? Because podcasting started as sort of like grassroots. Anybody can do it. Get your thing out there. Start your show. You don't need the big man. What do you think of all the celebrities pivoting into podcasting?
I think it brings more people to the medium.
All right.
I think it brings people in.
Fucking hate it, dude.
well, like I'll say
As soon
this.
as Dak Shepard started a fucking podcast, I was like,
it's just
fuck
like
that,
it's like
dude.
Amy Poehler. I love her, but it's like
Yeah,
Amy
she's great.
Poehler, Will Arnett, Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
And it's like Smart List, which is a funny show. I've listened to
It's a good show, yeah.
But it's almost like they hopped the fence. It's like a form of like classism in a sense, where it's like, we are talking about the stuff you make. This is like for the people, and then they go, what are they doing over there? And they're hopping in and cheating. I mean, not cheating. I'm sure they worked hard to get where they are.
They have an existing
audience
Yeah.
that they are just going, me, I'm fucking Will Arnett, or I'm Amy Poehler, famous comedian actress.
Yeah.
And I have a pod. And it's like,
I was on Saved by the Bell. Here's my
think-
Saved by the Bell podcast.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
I think what bugs me isn't really that they're getting into it because it is open to everybody.
It is.
But what bugs
I know
me
it's
is
hypocritical for me to be like, it's for everybody, but not fucking them.
well, I'm not trying to. I wasn't trying to call you out or
I
anything.
get it.
I just
It's
mean
come from a place of spite.
I think the thing that bugs me is when, like, for $200 million, like it just, and it's not just a podcasting problem. This is a problem with capitalism.
Now we're talking
bigger fish to fry.
Really, what I mean is like all that just goes up to them, and just fractions of that would allow 1,000 things to 1,000 ideas to be able to fruition, and where people aren't having, and we talk about the movie, like here's Ronald making this amazing podcast, so thoughtful, connecting and with telling these stories that connect with other people, divulging his story, and he can't pay his car note.
Right.
And
It's a fucking shame.
And that's
He's won awards.
and yeah, he won like huge awards and he was on the New York Times best, podcast, all that stuff. And like I said, that's a greater problem than just podcasting. So that's where my problem is. I do think that Amy Poehler doing a podcast, it's going to bring people who never listen to a podcast, and maybe it gets them into that rhythm, and they're going to explore beyond that.
Maybe,
they're not just going to watch that one or listen to it or watch it, whatever.
I get it, but like you said, when it brings people to the medium, it funnels to the top too. Like what you were saying, where it's like, okay, yeah, Amy Poehler is going to draw people to the podcasting, but it's going to then, if they check out more podcasts, they'll check out Smartless and JRE and.
I'll say this in the movie, not to, and I don't disagree with you fully.
Yeah.
But I will say, the stats show that people who listen to podcasts on a regular basis, 50% of what they listen to is independent.
Oh, that's good. We're independent. $5 a month on Patreon, by the way.
Yes, contribute. Like you should contribute to the
Sponsored by
Patrons.
Alma
I feel
Graphos,
like I'm a big proponent of people supporting the art. And that is where it needs to happen. Like it's if every single one of the people who download the show gave you $5, you guys might be this might be your only gig.
Yeah,
it would be.
So it's a matter of like, yes, that's ridiculous that they can come and do that, but also it's creating a culture of people who support artists. And that is, I think, as important as shaming these. We should shame both people. Like,
yeah,
support your artists.
Yeah,
like if you can,
independent artists, and it's not like I shame them specifically.
No, I get that.
I kind of am, but you get what I'm saying. I guess it's like it's a broader, like you said, it's a broader problem. I guess.
It was like, think of like Kevin Smith, right? Kevin Smith he wasn't like a massive known entity, but he was but he got into it early, and I don't feel like he. Was it doing that kind of thing?
Me either, because he's like an independent guy too. His films were even.
He is independent. He is. Totally. That's true.
He's wholly independent.
Clerks was him.
Yeah, you're right. He's an independent guy. Yeah, he tours his movies.
I get it.
Yeah.
What's a fucking shame about that though is like Kevin Smith was doing he was one of the OGs in podcasting, and he didn't ever really make money from podcasting until much later.
Yeah, that's true.
And like he went on Tom Segura's podcast and was like how the fuck are you able to do all of this?
I heard that too. It was very discouraging.
It was discouraging because he started the whole fucking thing.
He had famous podcasts, like the top charts.
And
now we got all the VC guys. That is probably the more gross thing.
Yeah.
Where the VC guys are getting in and they're using that to raise billions of dollars sometimes, and they're using these podcasts as a way to like get their narrative out there, and those kind of things. I'm a little more. I like the Amy Poehler podcast, by the way. I think it's good.
I'm sure it is.
I've seen the clips and it looks great. My thing is like
I don't listen to it regularly. I should listen to a couple episodes.
When it's just a clear capitalist cash grab situation, that it's like sometimes it feels gross, but like if I like the person, I don't care.
Yeah. They usually don't last very long, to be honest with you. The ones that don't commit to it. I mean, Conan's a big example of that.
I fucking love that show.
That Conan did a great job, and he pivoted his whole entire thing to that.
And I love that you got his producer in the doc too.
I tried really hard to get Conan. I tried.
Man,
so hard. I was a few feet away from making it happen. I had met some producer at a film festival. I had Gorley. Somebody gave me what producer to reach out to, and they were pushing it, and they were like, I was like, I should need 20 minutes just before I can do it at the studio, and it was like, we'll see, and then eventually it was like, it's not gonna happen, dude. And I was like, damn it.
He's gonna be mad he missed out, dude.
I think he's gonna
when this is when this is streaming, dude, he'll be bummed.
Well, that's always my goal, is to make people regret not being in the movie. Make it so good and make it so like awesome that you're like, man, I should have done that.
Yeah,
that would have been a good idea. What games are these?
Yeah, let's end on a few little games. So what have we talked about? Like what movies did we talk about earlier? Like watch list wise, or
let's do.
We can do actor game for like someone famous.
We do actor game. We could do shit. Did you have any like big?
I had a Vince Vaughn movie, but that's like I can name like 3 things.
How does the game work? You gotta explain it to me.
Okay, well let's just do this for example. Let's say
Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah. It's hot. It's basically last person standing. So you name a Will Smith movie, and we go around a circle, and last person standing wins.
Okay, I got you.
And you can't do multiple from the same franchise. You can't be like Men in Black 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try Vince Vaughn since you brought
How's
him
that
up.
work with Marvel? Can you still,
I mean, if you want to just name...
as long as it's not Captain America 2?
If it's the same character, that's what.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So it's
Okay.
like, that covers every
Yeah.
Marvel movie.
You
Yeah.
do Vince Vaughn?
Sure.
Ooh.
Nonnas. Oh, shit.
We'll go this way. I'll go Wedding Crashers.
Damn it, you bastard!
Swingers.
What was it, Tomahawk thing?
We'll give it to you. Bone Tomahawk.
Brawl on Cell Block 99?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's a great movie right there. Dragged Across Concrete.
Damn it!
Another
Hate that
banger.
movie.
Bastard.
Banger.
You got one? I'm out. I can't think of any other.
Vince
You got,
Vaughn.
I had like 3. No.
I know. That's Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, I'm out.
Swingers. Did we say
I said-
Swingers?
I did
Oh,
say
you said
Swingers.
Swingers. Okay. What second one that they did? The Mafia one.
I don't know.
I don't know. I never saw that.
I'm out.
No, I'm out too. I was
Oh,
just trying to
okay.
remember what the name of the movie is. They did a follow up that
To Swingers?
yeah, Swinger. No, it was the second movie that they both did.
Favreau and
Favreau, and it was like a mafia type thing.
Never saw that. True Detective Season 2.
Ah, fuck.
Vincent Vaughn.
Vincent
was
Van
also,
Vaughn.
4 Christmases.
Oh, that's a great movie. I genuinely love that movie. I love Four Christmases. That's my favorite movie. No,
Hey, man, do you like Four Christmases?
I like it. I'm out.
Also, I'm out.
He was in some. Dodgeball.
Ah!
Fuck, did
Come
I
on,
not get that?
fuckers.
All right.
I don't know if I'm
Guest
gonna be
of
that great at
honor.
this game.
Guest of honor. Who's your favorite actor or actress?
Damn, man, these are tough. Favorite?
We're asking the hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah,
Darren.
what do you
It's my
like?
news.
Who
Where,
do
where
I
do you
like?
get your ideas from?
Yeah.
Do you like websites?
Yeah, the internet. You ever heard of the internet?
Yeah.
Um,
That's one-off joke
I'm
they
trying
said
to
in
think.
between two ferns that I've never forgot it.
You like
Zach
websites?
Galifianakis just looked at somebody famous and went, "Do you like websites?" And I've never forgotten.
that is actually fucking brilliant.
so funny.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I have. Do I have a favorite actor? I don't know.
We gotta do someone where we can just like rattle off.
De Niro.
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Kick us off.
Taxi driver.
Yeah.
Meet
I think we
the-
were about to say Taxi. Be like,
Fuck.
Sorry, Queen Latifah.
that's Queen Latifah, you idiot. How did I mix those up?
Ah, shit. Meet the Parents.
This game always gets the best reactions out of people.
Ooh, I got one.
Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Robert De Niro. Look, yeah, that's the actor.
yeah.
fuck. Why can't I think of it?
I know.
Goodfellas.
Joker.
Heat.
Casino.
Oh, fuck. I'm
Casino.
pissed you said it and I didn't get to say it.
The Godfather Part 2.
Prequel to the greatest Godfather movie.
The Irishman.
I think I'm out. I can't think. I know there's many more. I can't think.
Wow.
De Niro.
Of them. Heat was my. He was my.
You're kind of done after he.
Yeah.
He don't really need-
Jackie Brown.
Oh fuck yeah. Let's
Robert
go.
De Niro's and Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! What the fuck? I
He's
just
the
watched
grimy
that.
motherfucker.
That's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie.
I don't blame you at all.
It's a great movie.
Also, Death Proof is not as bad as people think it is. It's
I
great.
have not seen it
I can watch.
since.
I can watch Jackie Brown like over and over again.
Yeah, it's so good.
Any one of his movies is valid as a person's favorite.
Robert Forster, fucking
Yeah.
brilliant in Jackie
Oh, so
Brown.
good. Music, the whole thing.
He's delightful in that movie. So charming. Okay. Robert De Niro, fucking anything.
Literate, pick a movie.
Pick any fucking movie. Shit. I can't think of a fucking thing. Oh, Angel Heart.
What? Never even heard of that.
Just sounded like two words you threw together.
Angel Heart.
I believe you.
I believe it.
Dash
I'm not even
cam.
gonna fact check that.
Plays the devil.
What'd you say?
A dash cam. I'm just making up words.
Dash,
You didn't see him in dash cam.
dude, Dog Dick Afternoon.
I'm out. Are you?
Are you
out?
still-
I'm out.
Raging Bull. Did I already say that?
Oh, nice. No,
That's a good one. Yeah.
not yet. Not yet.
All I have is good stuff like that.
I can't believe I didn't say
I
that.
just-
That was.
I just think of good movies that have come out and I talk about them. And
Speaking of good movies, Bad Grandpa.
I was trying to think of that one. I couldn't fucking think of it. All right. De Niro. Mean Streets. He's in that, right?
Oh yeah, he is briefly in that. Fuck you, dude. The King of Comedy.
Classic. Fuck. I'm probably out. Hold on. Let me think. I'm out.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Ah,
I just watched that one too.
Oh man, it's so good.
It is really good.
When he shows up with the fucking goggles.
Something funny?
Who was he in Joker?
Yes.
God damn it, he was.
I did say that.
That was
Yeah,
his.
you said Joker. That's right.
All right. What's a movie you saw recently?
Sinners.
Let's guess budget. You probably know.
The budget?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the budget on that one.
Well, fuck.
How about
no, 'cause it's such part of the discourse about it. Was,
Yeah, that's true.
Fruitvale Station budget? Fuck it, dude.
Let's do it. What was the budget
Ooh.
for Fruitvale Station? I'm gonna go
A
10
Ryan Coogler joint.
10 million.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 8 million.
For this movie I've never seen and have no context for, I'm going to go 12 million.
I've never seen it.
Oh, so you're racist.
Yes.
Right after saying
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Creed or like I got on.
You haven't seen Creed?
Have you seen Black Panther?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Have you seen Shaft?
Which one?
Shaft.
The movie, the new one,
Nope.
the original.
Any, I don't know.
Are you racist or not? I'm a racist.
I hate him.
Let me go $3 million to make Fruitvale Station.
Alexa, how much did the movie Fruitvale Station cost to make?
Fruitvale Station cost an estimated $900,000 to make.
I guess
Officially not racist.
I won.
you guess 9 million?
I guess 3.
3.
I guess 10. I was closer.
No, 900,000 under $1 million.
That's less, you dumb dick.
I'm an editor, not a mathematician.
That's a
Edit him going, great answer, thank you.
pretty amazing, dude. Kugler's the goat, bro. Didn't it win Sundance? I believe
What did?
the Fruitvale Station.
I've never seen it, dude. I don't know.
He wanted to. I mean, I was when all the discourse about. I was finding out more about his movies
Oh, okay.
because I liked Black Panther a lot and I knew him from that. But
Black
like,
Panther was fucking solid as shit, except for that
Man.
CGI fight scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
not his fault.
Not his fault. Yeah, just animators and time.
Yeah,
Probably.
not his fault.
Another budget? Do we want to do or? Oh yeah, how much did Fruitvale Station make in theaters?
Yeah.
Ooh,
How much did it make?
I bet it's not very much.
I'm going to go 1.73 million.
Damn, that was really close to what I was gonna say. 1.5. Nah, let me go 3. Just 3. Solid.
I'm going to go 1.5.
I'm gonna go 3.5.
Ooh.
Alexa, how much did the movie Fruitvale Station make in theaters?
Fruitvale Station grossed $16,100,000.
Oh, this
Racist.
$400,000
That's
worldwide.
pretty fucking. No wonder he got Creed, and then no wonder he got Black Panther.
Yeah, they're like,
The
"Can you
dude,
do
the
that
dude
again?"
hasn't missed at all.
That
Like,
guy who made Am I Racist should remake Fruitvale Station, but like a white version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On that note,
On that
I
note,
wonder what he's gonna do next.
thanks for listening to There Are Too Many Movies. If you're in the Dallas area and you're going to OCFF, check out Age of Audio. And if you are not, I'm sure in a few months or a year or whatever, you will be able to catch this movie. Sean, you got anything to plug?
Other than the movie,
Yeah.
Other than a fleshlight?
that's a double entendre there.
yeah.
What can I plug?
Handles, anything?
AOAmovie.com?
AOAmovie.com is the website. It's everything. Like all the socials are everything. Everything's AOA Movie.
What's your handle?
Open-ended films on Instagram. Yeah, and I don't really use Twitter very much, but it's on there and Threads. So open-ended films is the thing I go by. I'm trying to think. Check out A Fat Wreck.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can watch that right now on
definitely.
Documentary Plus.
Documentary Plus. Go check it out right now. It's if you were touched by any of those bands like NoFX or any of that time period.
Did you play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? You'll probably like it.
yes. You're in all of that. Like if you're into that area, that skate punk period, it is definitive about that kind of sound and what it meant to be like chosen family and punk rock ethics and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the
Thanks
show,
for
man.
coming on the
you.
show, man.
It meant a lot to us, man, and we're really stoked for your show,
Yeah.
or your documentary.
Later, Toads.
Bye.
Younging.